Like, I'll never get my answer now. Okay. All right. Let's see.
I wonder why the pop-up for this never shows up anymore.
What do you mean?
Oh, there. You know how usually it pops up and tells you, like, hey, this is being live streamed in case you want to dip out?
Yeah,
Mine,
gotcha.
At first, I thought it just wasn't popping up, but it doesn't come to the forefront of the screen.
Gotcha. Okay. Welcome, everybody, to an all-new episode of GVN Sports. This is the show where me, Didge, and Joel get together and talk football and basketball only. So do not look for any other sport here.
Yeah, we are not going to talk the NHL draft lottery. I saw that happened today.
No, we are not. Yeah, no, we are not. We're also not going to talk baseball, even though some of our teams are doing fucking fabulous right now. We're also not talking football. None of that shit's popping off around these parts. So sorry, but football and basketball is all we're doing here.
Very limited sports.
Yeah, very limited. Go to ESPN for everything else. We're very limited here. We would do like the first 10 minutes of Sports Center, and we would say, all right, who's taking over now? It's like, you got a whole hour. Unless I can talk about the same thing for an hour, you got the wrong three. Right. Even though I think Joel would be like, I can talk a little bit of soccer. I can dabble.
I can dabble all of them if you want.
I could probably dabble some in hockey and baseball. But
I could dabble baseball. So you know what? We'd each get our own segments.
Right. Right.
Like, all right. Here's 5 minutes of Joel talking soccer. Joel's just like, all right, that's literally all the time I need. Like 5 minutes, perfect.
Not all soccer. Like, I know MLS soccer.
That's what I'm saying. For you, you're like 5 minutes.
That 5 minutes.
That's
anything overseas. That's when you go like, all right, tag in.
That stuff. Yeah.
I'm just picturing somebody going to Didge, and it's like, all right, Didge, talk some hockey, and you're just like, yeah, hockey. And then it's like your 5 minutes are up and you're getting ready to get up, and they're like, hey, blah, blah, blah called in sick. Is there any way you could stretch it for 20 minutes while we find a replacement? You're just
I switched to football.
This is why we were friends. I was just about to say, Didge would immediately go, in other news, Tom Brady just signed a contract. It's like, where's the hockey talk? Like, where's the rest of hockey? I don't know anymore. Sorry. That's all you got from me. But we got a great show in store for you guys. I want to welcome in Didge and Joel. How you guys doing?
I'm doing okay. You know, rough loss last night. I'm a little stinging about that.
Yeah,
but
I could see that. That sucked.
It was not fun, but it was. I mean, it's at least it's still been good basketball overall in the playoffs. So
right. No, and look, I this doesn't help you at all, but I love mixing old and new when I play 2K. Like, I love that. I fucking love it. So like I was like, oh man, Tatum and Brown and Horford are just shitting on the Bucks. So I was like, I want to do old and new of the Boston Celtics. So the roster that I put together was obviously the starting lineup for Boston now. So it's Marcus Smart, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Robert Williams, and Al Horford, or switch that to. And then my bench is Rondo, Ray Allen, Paul Pierce, Garnett, and Bill Russell. And I am having
Bill Russell coming
off the bench. Bill Russell or any of them on the bench.
Yeah,
because only reason they're coming off the bench for me is because I'm like, all right, when I start the game, I do want it to be a slight modicum of realism, right? So I'm like, just a slight one.
I guess.
So I'm like, I want my actual real starting five against their real. But what I love is when their bench comes in, and I'm just like, Bill Russell's going to feast. He's gonna have so much fun tonight. So I really enjoy that. So I know, Joel, that's not really your thing, but Didge, do you dabble in that at all? Like fantasy draft or changing up rosters or anything?
Oh yeah, I'm big on whatever sports game is just picking my favorite team and then just doing a complete fantasy draft. So that way the entire league is reshuffled.
Yep.
And it's always so much fun, like just to see, you know, who ends up where. Like I always try to make sure I always rig it so I got the first pick so I can pick my favorite player.
Right, so with you. Right,
that's always there.
Right with you.
But then after that, and then I also like in sports games just simulating to it's like where you're so far ahead in the future, and it's like, who are these players that they pick? who do they see the league going? Where do they see the league going? So I like
doing that
too.
It's always some weird ass guy, and you're just like,
every player ends up looking the same.
Yes,
every player ends up looking like Devin Booker.
Yes, you got a full starting five of the same face. And you're just like, this is going to be confusing. Have you ever done first of all, let me just say this, Madden. What you need to do next for this new Madden, you need to be able to do what 2K does with old teams. I want to play as the 07 Patriots. I want to play as the 2003 Patriots. Or Joel might want to play as the 2007 Giants, 2010 or 2011 Giants. I just want to play as some of these older teams.
Definitely.
And I want to be able to mix it up, like put Prime Edelman next to Prime Welker, next to Prime Gronk, next to Prime Moss. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, I want to be able to do fun shit like that. And Madden is just so fucking one-dimensional. I hate it.
Remember when they used to have the AFC, NFC team, like they had a Pro Bowl team.
Yes,
when they don't even do that anymore. NFL Europe, they had the NFL Europe teams. Like, Madden used to be so much fun. And then I don't know. I guess it has to be the exclusive license. Because
Didge, we are in fucking sync today, bro. Oh my god! Because I'm sitting here and I'm saying, they're fucking stretching their legs because they're just like, well, what other fucking football game are you gonna play?
What are you gonna play?
That's just like when 2K started to slide, and they were just like, "Bitch, you gonna go play live?" And it's like, no,
right,
like no. And then NBA Jam came out, and I'm like, I'll fucking go to NBA Jam. And then the first year they made it, they stopped making it. And I'm like, no, like, damn you. So unless somebody has the balls to bring back NBA Street, to me, it's just like, well, whatever 2K does going forward, just what you got. I did want to ask one more thing before we jump into the thick of the NBA and NFL. Have you ever, when you did your fantasy draft, I just did this with my brother like a few weeks ago. You ever add all teams?
Oh, no, I didn't. Like, you mean just even the historical teams?
Yeah, so you can add all teams. And when you do that, the reason why that's so much fun to me is all the players that are great today, they literally get kicked down the road. So you can be in like round 6. You're like, fuck, Devin Booker. Like, but you have to really think to yourself. You have to really think to yourself, though, like, there's like 4 people from just that one Bulls team that you could draft in like the first few rounds, not to mention Karl Malone's, Larry Bird's, all those different guys. So we did that. Yeah, we did that. And what was fun about it is when you know how like when you do it with just today's NBA and you round out the bottom half of your draft, it's like a bunch of fucking whatever guys.
Mm-hmm.
Picture rounding out your roster and fucking Nick Anderson, fucking like Dennis Scott.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I know that has
like
to be
JJ
insane.
Yeah, it's so much fun, man. I'm like fucking Prime Blake Griffin is available. Like, shit,
right. That's what I was just gonna say. Like, you can, even if they are like, they're older now, but you're getting like 08 Blake. Like,
right. I will say though, Joel, the one thing that did make me and my brother cry when we were drafting out the bottom was how many today Knicks were available. Like Julius Randle was still on the board. I was like, oh,
he ain't coming out.
Like, oh man. RJ though did get taken within the first handful of rounds. He got taken, and I was like, okay, if he was available, come my pick, I was definitely going to take him. So I was proud of that.
See that because you got to figure he's still young. So,
right. But Julius Randle's not old.
No, but
he's not even 30 yet. Yeah, he's not even 30 yet.
He looks 30. I think that's why.
He does. Yeah,
I think that's what it is.
He huffs and puffs when he runs like he's 90, but
because I could have swore Julius Randle was like 31, 32.
No, not at all. He's still very young. So when I saw that, I was just like, damn, shit, Julius is still available. So I picked him up out of pity.
Yeah, I play a little more boring. I don't like any of that extra shit. I like just playing the NBA the way it is. Like, I don't change. I don't do any fantasy bullshit. I like playing my team the way they are. Only time I play for my fun is when I play all the all-time teams. I love playing the all-time teams. But I don't like putting other players on my all-time team. I don't do that. The team the way that they're supposed to be, I'll do that. Or I'll bring in players that they forgot to put in there, or they just didn't for some reason they left them off or they don't have the licensing for it. You know what I mean? Right. I don't mind creating characters and doing that. I mean, players and doing that. That's fun too. But
I would do that if my team was consistently good, because then like seeing them wouldn't make me emotional every time I'm trying to play with them. Because I remember that year where Melo took us to the second round, I never made not one fucking change of anything. I'm like, fuck yes. Then the very next season, I was just like, yes, I'm definitely putting
that's how I started. That's how I got into basketball, though. I got into basketball 2K. I learned about the players on the roster through 2K. Mm-hmm. And when I first started playing, I started fucking around. But then it didn't feel, I felt like I was lying to myself by doing that. I'm like, this is all lies. This is lies.
I could watch the NBA if I wanted to keep it normal for me. I'm like, I can watch this. I want to switch things up. Let's see how crazy things can get.
To me, Didge, I'm like, to me, if I'm spending $60, and Joel usually waits for the games to be drastically cheaper than that to go and buy the game.
It's because I go into a depression during the regular season.
I get it.
Usually, so I can't play.
I completely get it.
I don't want to watch or see basketball or play basketball.
Fair. So what I essentially do is like, we know when you go into like VR world, right? It's supposed to be your escape from reality.
Absolutely.
Right.
So 2K is my escape from my basketball reality. So I'm like, fair. Fucking Curry's on my Knicks. Fucking like fucking all kinds of crazy shit. And I'm like, what? I'm enjoying the Knicks. like I'm completely forgetting what I just saw, how the game just ended. And I'm enjoying the Knicks. You know what I'm saying? I always
come back to reality, and it's like, this is all lies. That's why for me, it's like it doesn't work. It doesn't work that way for me.
To me, it has the same effect as if I had a bad day at work.
I did it one time, and I felt like I jinxed it, and I never did it again.
I can understand that.
It was during the LeBron thing, where like I put LeBron on the team. I've never did that in my life. And I took I'm like, let me try it. Let's see what it looks like. Oh, that's cool. And then he went to Miami, and I'm like, I'm never doing that again. I'm never going to do that to myself again. If I want to play with LeBron, I'll play with whatever team he's on.
I remember I had LeBron and Giannis on my team once because they just didn't draft at all. We were dominant.
Hell yeah. Who else do you need on that team? What the fuck?
It was LeBron and Giannis, and we were LeBron. It was so you could tell it was fake.
Time out. Hold on, Joel. Theoretically, in real life, yes. In 2K, you could run straight with LeBron and Giannis and get a bucket almost 9 times out of 10.
You know how many alley-oops, how many
That's what I'm
saying.
That's what I'm saying. You don't need you barely need shooting. Because here's the crazy part about putting together a team with LeBron and Giannis. Who the fuck are you doubling? Right? Who are you doubling? You can't guard either one of them one-on-one. So it's like, oh man, I'm clearing out. Are you fucking serious? Clear out. Move. It
was insane. I had to quit that one. I played only like 3 or 4 games. I was like, this is just unfair. I'm restarting this.
Yeah, I did. I played one because I like to do seasons when I assemble these teams, like not just a playoff series. I like to do seasons. So I played with the all-time Golden State, right? And when I could pass to 4 different people and hit a 3, I said, I'm not gonna have any fun with this. I gotta change. I'm just like Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Durant, fucking Chris Mull. Like it's just too many people. I could just
because you're gonna have Run TMC. Like you're gonna have
it was too much. I play on Hall of Fame. My brother raised me. You don't play on anything but Hall of Fame. So I'm playing on Hall of Fame, and it was still too fucking easy. I was hitting 3s with Curry from like the opposing locker room. So I'm like, this is just no fun. I can't do this. I can't do this. So that's what I started to do more manageable.
I only play against all-time teams with all-time teams. That's just how I do it.
No, that's what I was. Like I said, I changed the whole league to where it was all-time. So the whole NBA was just everybody's all-time team. But still, there's no one that can guard that shooting lineup. That 4 lineup there. Nobody in the NBA.
Because you're basically just running to 3 and just that's it.
Right. And then here's the crazy part. Wilt Chamberlain is the fucking 5. So it's like, yes, come double me out here. I forgot that's technically Chamberlain.
I forgot technically that was the Warriors.
Yeah, so we're talking about Curry, Klay, Durant, Chris Mullin, Wilt Chamberlain. That's one of the most unguardable starting 5s in the history of basketball. easily. So that's why I say, okay, this is like playing with the Warriors and Lakers. I'm like, it's just not fun. It's just not fun. Doing magic layups to not layups, alley-oops to LeBron. That shit was just like, all right, it's too much.
Did he ever actually even play in San Francisco with them?
No.
Okay, they were still in Philly the entire time, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right.
He never actually played in the West Coast, which is sad, right? I mean, he did when he went to LA.
I mean, obviously when he went to LA, but I know what you mean.
Listener Jim is starting off the night trying to upset me and Joel. I rewatched the 8 points in seconds Knicks Pacers series. What great basketball it was then. Not as a Knicks fan watching that shit. So
why you gotta bring that up? I'm still not over that. I don't know.
Come on, listener Jim, don't do that. Are you serious? It only made me feel worse because, like, obviously I was super young when that happened. But what made me feel worse is us losing to the Pacers in the most recent series. It was just like, fuck, does this just not escape me? And what made it even worse was, and this is what I said, the NBA, you are fucked up. Every Pacers Knicks game, guess who was the fucking commentator? Reggie Miller. Like, oh, this is just, come on. Are you serious?
You know they did that on purpose.
Of course. Of course.
They were like, this is perfect.
Yeah, that's why I said everyone, and we'll transition into our NFL topics. That's why I said everyone that's like, yo, I can't believe Brady's going to be doing commentary. I said, I'm not looking forward to that shit. Why? Brady's going to shit on New England every game.
Every New England game. I'm not excited for that.
Like, Mac Jones. Fuck Mac Jones. Look at this little weak ass arm. Look at this little bit. It's like, all right, Brady, relax. Like, calm. Like, calm. Like, and for anyone that's like, no, he's going to be professional. I challenge everyone to go back to the game where Drew Brees on Sunday Night Football was not calling, but he was part of the broadcast team for the Saints when they had no Jameis Winston. And he was just like, well, shit, I could come back and play. Drew, you can't say that.
Tony Romo, his first couple of years, he was still kind of even on Dallas like that. So it's like,
right.
I think those first years
stings a little, you know.
It does.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, those first years, it's like, even if you retired on your own terms, it's still like when you see bad QB play, I bet it's just like, bro, I can do this still.
Yeah,
I can get out there for one more series.
Hell yeah, like, you fucking suck. But I will say the vindication will come from if Fox gets a future Super Bowl and New England's in the Super Bowl and he has to call it. Oh,
that would, yeah.
Oh, I would fucking love it. Yes. Yeah, Brady, say something nice, bitch. Say it. Say Mac Jones is that motherfucker. All right, yeah, that's what I thought. But no, Tom Brady today signed a 10-year, $220 million deal to broadcast when he officially retires.
It said immediately.
Immediately.
So it's like, if they get, so how does that work though? Like, do you think like if they get put out in the divisional round, just for the NFC Championship, he'll be there.
Yeah, he'll be there. Yo, and you know what they're gonna say, Brady. How do you feel about being here and not on the field? And you're just gonna hear some tussling. You're just gonna hear like, what the fuck is going on? It's like Brady's beating his ass. Don't worry about it. To me, this is cool. The only thing I don't like about it is what it does setting the market for broadcasters going forward. Picture being a German.
I don't think it will.
No. Hear me out.
Okay.
The reason why it taints the system, and that's why a lot of broadcasters got mad at Romo when he got his deal with CBS, is because I went to journalism school, right? Or broadcasting school, whatever. 4 years, 6 years, 8 years, whatever. I put in the work to get to this point to be able to call games, right? And I only make $10 million a year, right? This motherfucker comes in day one, 220 million. And it's just like
375.
Even worse, 375.
I thought it was 220. Yeah, it says 10 years, 375. I'm
even worse. Let me ask you this, Didge. How many days are in a year? Isn't 365? This motherfucker makes more money than there is days in a year. Like, if I'm a broadcaster, I'm looking at this motherfucker like, hey, I might snuff you at any given broadcast. Like, any given broadcast, I might fuck you
It's more than he's made in his NFL career.
I believe that, because he takes pay cuts like all the goddamn time. I believe that. So that's just my problem. And look, we see it in the podcasting world, right? We see people that have a modicum of fame right? They strike podcast deals with large amounts of money, and then you watch their podcast and you're like, you just don't know nothing about what the fuck you're talking about, do you? Like, what the fuck? What? Like, huh? Why are you asking where's the Hulk's Eye of Agamotto? Why is that a question that you just asked? Like, what? So to me, I just feel like Romo and Brady are able to do something that only a select few. You go ask Troy Aikman if he's making 375 fucking million. Guarantee you he's not.
I wonder what it is. Let me look that up.
What
was his deal with ESPN? Because that's why it's happening.
I'm about to say.
Because Aikman and Joe Buck just went to ESPN. So like, let me see what his ESPN contract was.
That's a good question.
90 million.
Yeah.
So
90 million. I'm telling ESPN to lick my balls. I'm not saying a word till you up that shit. 90 million. Fuck Tom Brady. What? 90?
But I guess what it is, I mean, yes, it's a lot of money. I'm not even going to get to that part of it. It is a lot of money.
I was about to say.
No, that's insane. But that's been sort of sports commentating in a nutshell in general. I know you're talking about the broadcast analysts, people who went to journalism school to be able to get that. But almost from its inception, after John Madden, it's been get a former player. Because now you have your former player, you pair them up with a journalist, and now you have the journalism aspect, but you also have somebody who's been on the field. Right. So it seems like it's just sort of a continuation of what's been the norm for years. Now the money is insane. I don't know. Tom Brady, his agent is just fucking amazing. Like, I don't know what it is, but the money is insane. Because I think even like, what was Romo's deal? His CBS,
very high. Romo's deal was so high. You had some people in broadcasting that was just like, I'm about to re-up my shit. Like, I don't know what the fuck y'all thought. Now, to be fair, the first day Romo did it, it was just like, oh, he is like way better than you guys.
Yeah, so Romo's getting 17. He's getting about 17.5.
He's better about talking football than
with his latest CBS deal.
I guarantee you, the first phone call Romo made today was to his agent that said, hold on, I'm making 17. How much is Troy making? 19. He's not even the better fucking Cowboys quarterback. Re-up. Re-fucking up. Call whoever you need to call. Re-up. Because I can tell you this right now. Football, to me, would be very boring for a lot of CBS games, if not for Tony Romo. I saw Tony Romo call a play before a motherfucker said hike. And I'm like, how the fuck did you know that? Like, Romo's just like, watch this. Brady's going to drop back and throw left.
I think that sort of helped.
Whoa. Go ahead.
But I think that's sort of what helped Brady is that how Romo came into it just so great at it. And they're looking at like, he clearly had a mind for the game.
Mm-hmm.
This is one of the greatest minds of the game ever.
Right.
Bro, we got to lock him down. And it's obviously cash. When you just got it, you just throw it to wherever.
Yeah. And let's also not forget Richard Sherman is signing a deal to do broadcasting also. I tell you what, I will never miss any game he calls. And here's why. If Richard Sherman could tell you on the field that you fucking suck ass, he 100% will find a nice way to tell you that from the booth. Where he's just like, that corner, garbage. It's like, Richard, you can't. No, he's garbage.
Right.
But I will tell you this, where sports is heading media-wise is it's starting to eliminate all the players that are saying, shut up, Skip Bayless, or shut up, whoever. You've never played this sport. You can't tell me that I suck. Because now you're getting guys like Draymond Green that's going to be part of TNT when he retires or whenever the Warriors aren't playing.
He's already technically a part of it.
He's already a part of it, right? Yeah, he already signed.
Him in slowly.
So when he gets there, if you think Draymond's not going to be honest, and what are you going to say to Draymond? Oh, you don't know what it takes to win a championship. Oh, I do. I do. I single-handedly am the reason we didn't win consecutive championships before Durant. So it's like, it'll start to become a world where it's like, who are you going to challenge?
Well,
they play the sport at the highest level.
Basketball for sure is probably, I think, the most inundated with former players.
Right.
Like
100%.
I think at every level, like you go to ESPN, most of their analysts are former players, whether they were former greats or just scrubs who are just
just scrubs. Yeah, I see.
But
Mark
it's like
Sanchez
you still know the
too
game.
Much.
Like
anytime I turn on my TV and I'm just like, I just saw Tim Tebow and Mark Sanchez. What's happening here?
There's a lot of former stars that never became stars in the NFL. There's a lot of that.
Yeah, because I mean,
Quinn.
you still got a mind for
Brady
the game.
Yes,
Brady Quinn. But to be fair, Brady Quinn only relegates to college. That was his stomping ground. That's where he was great, is college. So
most of the time, I don't see Tebow much in pro.
No, he does college too. He does college
yeah.
too. Shit, RG3 was there, and shout out to RG3.
I saw RG3.
He's how we got our first sighting of Bigfoot, aka Andrew Luck, in forever. Like he brought him out and was just like, "You're alive. Hi, Andrew. Like how
right?
Like playing crazy." Yeah, I'm sure the Colts, as soon as they found him, was just like, "Hey, get his number, like in case we need somebody." Get his number. I am sure Andrew Luck does look at the Colts today and go, "You didn't want to do any of this shit when I played. I had no Jonathan Taylor. I had no great offensive line. I had no top 10 defense. The fuck was all that for? You know how many championships Luck could have won them if he had just had an offensive line? Not a great running back, not great receivers, just an offensive line. God damn, Andrew Luck must be sitting somewhere just like, no, fuck all of you.
And that's why I'm not playing.
And that's why I'm not playing. That's why I blocked you. But Joel, I know you're not the biggest Tom Brady fan, but what does this deal mean for you? Are you excited to see him when he does retire get into a booth?
Excited? No, I'm not excited, but I mean, cool. I mean, it's fine, whatever. I don't mind listening. But no, I'm not excited to hear someone talk about football. I mean, I look forward to his insight. Yes, eventually when it comes down to it, but you know, just like everyone else, I'm just. As long as you do a good job, I'm cool.
I personally get excited when I'm just like, Tony Romo's calling a Patriots game. Oh yeah. Oh fuck yes. Like, yeah, because it's the only times where I'm like, what are they about to do? What is this lineup? And Romo just kind of comes out of the screen and goes, don't you worry. They're going to do a spread option left. And it's just like, how the fuck do you know this? Like, what the hell? Are you there? Do you have a connection or some shit? Romo's just like, don't ask questions. Just watch. I got you.
Smart quarterback.
Very smart quarterback. Could never implement it, but is a very smart quarterback. Yeah. Didge, you being a strictly, well, not strictly, you know what I mean by strictly, but you being a massive Tom Brady fan, what is this for you to know that he won't just retire and run off into the sunset? Like, you'll still have Brady around.
I mean, I do want to hear him. I do want to hear him commentate. And I think, like you said, what we've already seen Romo be able to do as a commentator, I'm interested to see if Brady can, one up that. Like I said, I think he's one of the greatest minds of the game already. So to be able to see him look at what's going on as the game evolves and sort of talk about it, it's going to be something that's interesting. And my biggest kick out of this, though, has been all of the tweets about it. Did you see the one? They were basically like, Tom Brady spent a month home with his family and was like, yeah, I'm never doing this again.
Never. Never.
It's been
I'm
insane.
telling you, watching Tom Brady makes me fear like marriage, kids, everything. Because I'm like, if that rich motherfucker doesn't want to be home, like how bad is home?
Their Sunday traditions must be the worst. That he makes sure that his Sundays are tied up forever. Whatever they do Sunday mornings, he's like, well, this is awful. I can never do this.
Yeah. 100%.
The rest of the week, sure, I can do. Sundays, I gotta be gone.
I'm telling you, what it was, Didge? You know what it was? I guarantee you, day one of retirement, Brady woke up at 6 a.m. like he has been for the last 20-something years. And he's like, all right, kids, let's get up. Let's throw some football. And they were just like, I don't want to get up. And he said, I can't do this. I can't fucking do this. I need people that when I say let's go, they know what it means. Fuck these kids. Tampa Bay, I'm coming back. It's like, right. I'm back. And then they were just like, well, you can't play forever. And he's like, fuck, that's true.
That's who?
Broadcast. Broadcast. I'll do broadcast. Because look, here's what's wild about his deal. Not the money. Let's put the money aside. What's crazy is this motherfucker locked up an MLB contract. Like that's what MLB players get. 10 years, 375 million. 10 years. That's your way of saying, hey kids, I know I said this whole thing about I want to be a part of your lives. I want to see you graduate. I want to do all that. And they're just like, all right, we can't wait to have you home. And he was just like, oh no. I mean, like we have Zoom now. So like I'm gonna FaceTime your mom as you're graduating. I don't want to be there. Like I need to just be around football every day. So it's like, I get it. I completely get it. Fuck, I get it. If I ever got to work for Marvel or DC, I would fucking do that shit. Morning, afternoon, night. Religiously. Like,
right.
Are you gonna come home to our newborn? No. Batman.
FaceTime me.
Like, yes. FaceTime me and I'll stay up with
right.
Like, I can't be there. I can't
right. I'll do the nighttime story from FaceTime. I got it. my background will change with the pages.
The wife would be like, is that Robert Pattinson you're with? Yes, we're talking Batman 4. I gotta go. Like,
look, I'll have him read it this time.
Yeah, he's gonna read the bedtime story tonight. Don't worry. But yeah, Brady, you gotta get some therapy or something, man. That's not healthy.
It's wild. Yeah, I don't understand it.
Yeah, I Jesus Christmas, goodness gracious, that man is a monument. Like, I can't wait to see Tom Brady's documentary. If people thought Jordan was an asshole, wait till you get that Tom Brady documentary where Brady was just like, fuck them kids. Fuck everybody. I'm going back to football. Can't do this home shit. The fuck picket fence. Ugh. All right, let's see what listener Jim's saying. That Brady deal is kind of sketchy as hell. Had anyone seen the ink deal? No, we never will. No. That's not how that works. We'll never see that. Yeah, that's a hell of a New York Post. Right. That's a hell of a stretch for Fox. I don't buy he ever makes it to the booth. I disagree. I believe he will immediately.
That's what they already said. They said that he would call games with, who did they say? Let me go back to the article, with Kevin Burkhardt. So they already have the plan.
Yeah, I like Kevin Burkhardt.
They legit have it ready. Like, all right, this is who you're going to be working with.
Right, yeah.
Ready.
And he's like, all right, as long as I don't have to be home. Good. Anybody. I don't give a shit. Andrew Luck is a quitter. I understand he had the right, but the way he did it, I appreciate the way he did it. He very much said,
didn't he just say I'm done?
He very much woke up one day and said, you know what? Last year I was sacked more than any other quarterback by a mile. I am not doing this shit again. Like, you know what he probably did? He probably sat through the draft and was just like, receiver, okay. Defensive back, okay. No offensive lineman, like at all? Did we sign anyone? No, I'm not fucking doing that again. Hell no. I saw what Peyton went through. Almost broke his fucking neck to do this shit. You
saying that he had the Usher confession?
Yes, he did.
Wait, you kidding? You kidding me?
What? No, are you serious? Stop playing with me, man. It's like, no, we're serious. No offensive lineman. Fuck out of here. No, thank you. I see Brady ending up as part of ownership of Miami and in the front office. It was one story about him going to Miami.
But no, a lot of people are saying ownership in Miami. I've been seeing a lot of people say that.
I don't know why.
He'll be an owner.
Yeah, I was like, what did I miss?
Yeah, I don't know why. I'm like, you grew up a 49ers fan. That would make more sense. And then you played in New England for almost the entirety of your career.
I mean, you don't always get the lucky to own a part of your actual team.
I get what you're saying, but the likelihood of anyone in San Francisco turning down whatever bid Brady has is slim to none. Slim to none.
If he's
if LeBron retired tomorrow and went to Cleveland and said, I want half of this fucking stake, they would give it to him. The name is just too much. It would sell tickets alone. Just LeBron being at the game, not even playing for them.
Yeah.
I'm like,
whatever.
What do you mean?
I don't see how that makes sense. I don't just because his name's on it, he's a half owner.
Yes. No, not half an owner. I think he would just have stake in it. He would just have stake.
Being a part of that ownership.
Jordan was half a fucking or a quarter, a minute, whatever with Washington. Like how fucking.
I guarantee Charlotte. Really? I guarantee that they have a higher attendance than they did pre-Jordan's ownership.
100%, because Jordan's there.
You see what I mean?
Wait, what? Wait, who are you talking about?
Make that much. He had to play to bring players in.
No, I'm talking about.
No. We're talking about fans. We're not talking about players. We're talking about fans.
No. I get that. I just don't think it matters. I don't. It's ownership. I'm not gonna go to a game because LeBron owns it now. You know what I mean? I'm looking at it as myself.
And I get you. I 100%
She's not a lot of
get
basketball fan.
I was just about to say, I get what you're saying, and you're speaking logically. I'm speaking, I watch Knick fans show up to a Garden when they're not good, and it's just because it's the Garden.
Well,
just because it's
they're not. It's those are diehard. It doesn't matter who's there, who's owner or not, because those fans are always going to show up.
Right now,
you know what I mean?
there is like I've seen a lot of times Cleveland, not this year, but I've seen a lot of times where Cleveland was pretty vacant. I do believe LeBron coming home to his hometown team, there's no empty seats there.
Especially that first year.
It does raise it for sure. LeBron just being there.
I really just don't think it matters.
I'm just saying.
Wayne Wade's a partial owner of now the Jazz. Like that don't mean shit.
Yeah, but if you're a Jazz
but Dwayne
fan,
Wade is
like,
the level of Dwayne Wade is also not the level of a Jordan and LeBron.
Again, Jordan was a Wizard owner, and now he's the owner of the Hornets now. You know what I mean? And that's still one of the cheapest teams in the league. You get what I'm saying? You see, it doesn't matter. Like,
no, but I get you. But I also believe it's because they suck. That also leads to that. Also, that more than anything else. But ticket sales, 100% would. 100%. It just would. It's the star power of it.
I don't.
It's the star power of it. It really is. And I believe LeBron could get players to go there. If he had any ownership stake in anything, any team, he for sure could get players.
He currently has soccer ownership, I believe.
Oh, yeah, most guys do. Most guys do.
I forgot what team.
I think Arsenal. Mm-hmm. He has a very minor stake in them.
Right. So to me, it's just like the Miami thing just really was like, why Miami?
He had a close relationship with the owner, I believe is what it was.
When?
I don't even know who the
fuck did he. That's what I'm saying. I don't even know who the fuck that is. I thought it was Khan. Isn't it Khan?
No, he owns the Jags.
Jacksonville.
Oh, the Jags. Right.
Well, here's the thing. The whole time they were trying. I think at one point he was recruiting him to go to play in Miami.
Hernandez.
You get what I'm saying?
That's weird.
That's the owner of the Marco Hernandez.
Who's that?
That's the owner of the Dolphins.
Yeah.
Never heard of that name before. Okay.
That's the owner of the Dolphins.
All right. Okay. All right. I guess. Okay.
Well, then they just get in trouble because he was forcing, or no, that was actually the GM, but I think the owner was talking the coach into losing games. Remember that the whole thing? They called it a month ago. That.
Yeah, but they just that got tossed. They were saying they couldn't prove that. Like there's
obviously it's word of mouth. I think that's still going to court for that. But
yeah, that whole case is still going to court.
Yeah, exactly.
I can't find anything on this guy. I don't know who this guy is.
Yeah, I don't know either. I just believe when he does hang it up, like officially hangs it up, because once he gets ownership stake, he can't go back and play again. I just have to believe he would take a shot at the 49ers or New England, because Kraft would definitely open it up for him to have somewhat stake in New England for sure. 100%.
Yeah.
I don't know.
100%. So that was like a fucking son to him. So I have to imagine he's like, yeah, fuck yeah. Now owning my team, no. some stake in it.
Owner. Yeah. So their majority owner is Stephen Ross.
That's who it is. Stephen Ross.
But the Marcos Hernandez guy is a minority owner with also Gloria Estefan, Emilio Estefan, Mark Anthony, Venus Williams.
There's a lot of people
Williams, Fergie.
I think Rick Ross is somewhere on there.
Like they all have stake.
Yeah.
Interesting.
That's the guy that got accused of trying to
Stephen Ross is.
He was recruiting. He was trying to, I think they didn't say it, but I think it was alluded to that they were trying to recruit Tom Brady.
No. We know that. We know that. They were trying to get Sean Payton and Brady over to
I'm just saying
Miami.
They have a relationship, and that's probably why.
Well, he must have been like, hey, if we can get you here, fuck it, you got the whole team. $10.
That was probably part of it. You play and then you get a piece of it.
Hey, shit, we know that was the they were saying the rumor was that was part of the reason Jordan went to play for the Wizards. It's like, hey, yeah, you can have stake here.
Jordan was an owner and then played.
He was GM. He didn't get any ownership stake in the.
He had to drop ownership to play, but like, he was originally an owner, and then he helped bring in whatever the fuck, and then it only lasted a season. He should have never came back, but it is what it is.
Still dropping 20. Luck is a sore subject here in Indy. We got spoiled with Manning. I fully admit that. But to just wake up and say I can't do this right before the season started was a punk move, just my opinion. I won't argue your opinion. But I could never say it's a punk move if you're saying, hey, it's just not in me anymore. Because if he had played that season with his heart not really being in it, it would have showed. And that to me is worse. Like, yeah. That to me is worse. Like, if you're a player heading into a season knowing you don't want to be part of that team, you at this point just do everything you can to get out. I don't want to see you half-assing it. Like, if I was a Houston Rockets fan and I'm watching the guy who ate James Harden dribble a fucking basketball every day, I'd be very upset. Very fucking upset. Who the fuck is this Oompa Loompa that came out here? Like, what the fuck, James Harden? What are you doing? So to me, it's like, I don't want that. So if that's the alternative, rather than a player just saying, I don't want to be here and leaving, shit, do what Deshaun Watson did. He was just like, trade me. No, I just won't play then.
It's like,
okay. No. All right, well, I won't play. So to me,
what it came down to.
That's exactly what it was. Just like, well, I won't play. And they're like, oh, well, really? Yeah, no, I won't play. All right, fuck it. Turned out great for him in the end. The only guaranteed contract I think I ever remember ever in the history of football. Ever. Fully guaranteed for a guy you don't even know if his legal troubles are done.
Like officially done?
Insane. Yeah. Insane.
I think,
there's a 25th
his contract. I think his was fully guaranteed. Kirk Cousins with Minnesota.
Kirk Cousins, yeah, but his was not as high.
No, not as high.
No, not at all.
And we believe that was. I mean, you can make a case of Brown's desperation too. So I won't even make that argument because I'm like, Vikings at that point, they were just like, we have no one to throw a football. Oh, Kirk Cousins, give him everything. Give him everything, everything. Because you got to think about it. If you're the Vikings and Kirk Cousins is like, no, I want to go to like a winning culture, and they're like, well, does that winning culture offer you guaranteed dollars? And he's like, no. They're like, well, we do today. Take it, stay. And it's worked numbers for them.
He was like the backup in Washington behind RG3. Now he's still starting and playing in Minnesota, and RG3's on the sidelines, commentating and shit.
It's insane.
It is insane. That's crazy.
The thing that's even more insane is he wasn't half bad in Washington. It was only when he got here that it was just like, you just can't get past that threshold, can you? Like, you just can't. You can't just get over it, huh?
He's only so good. That's really what it is. You know, he's
right.
You know.
All right, so let's get deeper into our topics in football before we move on to basketball. All right, let's see what we got here. So we have our full 2022 international series. Vikings Saints, October 2nd, we'll be playing in London. We got Giants Packers, October 9th in London. Broncos Jaguars, October 30th in London. Munich is going to be interesting. Seahawks and Bucks, they're going to be really glad they're getting Tom Brady. Because if it was seeing fucking Drew Lock versus anybody else, they would be like, no. We don't need football that much.
Right.
I don't know why my whatever I felt for Drew Lock, whatever positivity I have for Drew Lock is gone now. I don't know why it happens.
I'll say this, Joel. He's not horrible. It's just he's not the guy you want to build a franchise around. He's the guy you want as a bridge till you find your franchise
he's
guy.
A bridge quarterback.
Right. Yes. But I would not. I've seen worse quarterbacks for sure, and he's not the worst ever in the league today. Ain't the greatest.
No, not at all.
Oh, yeah, it's underwhelming though. If you look like, I guess because you're going from what was there?
Russell Wilson
to now fucking it's a hell of a drop off.
So that's a major.
Well, remember there were a few games last season where you had Geno. So I'm like, as a Seahawk fan, you were just like, this is our fucking future, isn't it? This is our fucking future. God. I'm telling you right now, Seahawk fans are waiting for the Washington Commanders to get good, for them to go, all right, I'm jumping shit. I'm out of this motherfucker. All right, and then last but not least, Mexico City has 49ers and Cardinals. That's going to be a really fun game.
I look forward to that.
Yeah, that should be a good game.
Mm-hmm.
Some of these other ones, not so much. Like, I don't think that Vikings Saints game is going to be that great.
Not at all.
I'm not telling you that Giant Packer game is going to be good, but I'm going to watch it.
That Giant Packer game is going to be good for one or two reasons. It'll either be the Giants have emerged and it's a really tough game, or Aaron Rodgers is going for 4,000 yards in one game. One of those two things are happening. And it's not a Giants thing. I'm not trying to poke fun at the Giants. Aaron Rodgers is going to look to do that against any team this year.
Or Aaron Rodgers does not come back to the States whole.
Right. No, that's what I'm saying. Or the Giants could put up a really good fight. That's what I'm saying.
It could very well be an upset. You got to figure going overseas. I'm sure that's just hell on your rhythm.
Yeah, it's different. Yeah, it's not a football stadium. It's not your same country.
Right.
Could you picture if the reverse effects work on each team? Like for Aaron Rodgers, it takes his talent away and then gives it to Daniel Jones, and Daniel Jones is throwing for 400 yards, 6 touchdowns, no picks. It's like, whoa, what happened? And Daniel Jones is just like, all right, Mexico City, how can we expand that all year? And it's like, Daniel, we can't do that. We got to do home and away. No. Mexico City is home. That's my new home.
It's crazy how deep they're going in on London. Like NFL is really trying to get them a team over there.
I mean, they've been going there for years now, and I know they want to expand.
I don't think it'll ever work to have a consistent team overseas.
It's tough. It's too far away. Mexico City, maybe.
Yeah, but Mexico City, I can understand, but I think because they keep going to London, I'm pretty sure they want a team in London. Like they want to be able to have a team there, and it's like, how is that supposed to work?
That would be like.
But I also believe if you're over in London, the hype you see in the stands is because it's a rarity. I don't know if they bring that love every single game, right? I think it's the idea of the shit comes once in a blue moon, or now more so every year, right? So you're like, okay, I get it once a year, right? Or once or twice or 3 times a year. But 16 to 18 games of that shit, they might just be like, bitch, you got the wrong football place in this motherfucker. Like, we like the other football.
Right.
So to me, it's just like, I think they enjoy it because it's just the rarity. It's the rarity of it.
It's something different.
But to put a team there, I don't know. It'd be a work in progress for sure. It wouldn't be immediate.
I don't think it'd be a good product. Like, those teams going there, that's major home field advantage, because all of that travel, all of the jet lag, literally getting to an entirely new continent.
Not to mention that, Didge, what's been the complaint the last few years of them going over to London? Field conditions. They got really shitty fields. So it's like you got to carve out like the best of the best fields for the guys that want to come over there. Because a lot of the players were complaining. They were just like, yeah, don't put us on the schedule next year. This is fucking
right.
Don't do that again. don't do that again. Find somebody else. All right, so moving on. Yesterday was essentially my birthday, and what I mean by that is I had been wishing to Santa Claus and the birthday angels for Bradbury to be released from the Giants, and he was released from the Giants. So I want to say thank you.
Got your wish. Like, happy birthday.
Thank you.
Well, unfortunately, that doesn't mean anything except that he got released and we saved money.
Yeah, good for you guys. Now it means we can lowball him and say, hey, come play here. Come play with Bill. Play with Bill.
He could, but he could also go somewhere else.
I'm sure they said it's going to be a very, very healthy market for him. I think a lot of teams.
You know, it's funny, Didge. The first thing that's going to happen, as soon as he sits down in front of Bill, right? And Bill's like, look, we've gotten tape on you. Obviously, Joe Judge was your head coach. We would love to have you here, right? And then the first time Bradbury's agent goes, yeah, so we're looking at 10 bye. What? Yeah, bye. No, we don't do the money thing here. Sorry. You got to go. Sorry. We would have kept JC Jackson if we wanted that shit. The fuck out of here.
Right.
We thought you were willing to just come play here for experience. like an internship. You don't want to do it for an internship? Nah, get the fuck out of here. Because they're already saying like the Texans are trying to throw a whole bunch of money. They were trying to trade for him, but his cap number was too high. So now that it's a more manageable situation for them, Texans are probably going to throw him the most money. But look, I wanted Bradbury because I did watch a lot of Giant games last year. I did watch a lot of his highlights in the offseason. When I first heard there was a possibility that they could be on the outs. And he would easily be the best fucking cornerback we have on our roster without even fucking thinking about it. Unless these two kids that we drafted just immediately become Darrelle Revis, he would easily be our best cornerback. Easily. So I'm like, fuck yes, I want him. So I'm hoping, didn't we get Peppers from you guys, Joel?
Yeah.
I'm hoping Peppers makes a phone call.
Was Peppers coming straight from there? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm hoping Peppers makes a phone call and he's just like, hey, it is fucking crazy here. Like,
I'm not even starting.
Come here. No, we said before Pepper's role is going to be different. So he's probably going to do alternate with punt returns. But also I think we're going to play a lot more zone this year than man to man because we don't have guys that can play man to man.
Yeah, we don't have lockdown. We don't have lockdown. At least
right. We don't have Jason
considering
Jackson.
whatever. We don't know what these rookies.
I don't have any lockdown guys either. Trust me.
No. I was just saying in response to Peppers is going to be playing a lot because they're going to use him to roam. So what they're going to do a lot of, they might even drop him because they did a lot last year, Didge, with Adrian Phillips, where he kind of played like a linebacker position to where he's just hovering the middle of the field, taking on the running backs, the tight ends. So I kind of feel like Pepper's role will be more so that. But I would love to get Bradbury because I would really love to put Jalen Mills out of my cornerback room. I would really love to put him back in the safety.
Yeah, he would be a really good pickup if we can get them for the right price.
Right. And that right price is a bag of Skittles. That's what Bill's offering.
All right. If we can get him for that.
Shit, I would have kept him for a bag of Skittles. That's serious.
Right now, I'm telling you, Bill is just like, all right, what is his market? $2 million.
That too. I wonder.
Wait, would you say, Joel?
So we could use a vet cornerback too.
Not many. A lot of them got scooped up early.
We're a little late. I mean, no one major. We can't afford anybody important.
Joel's like, that's the whole reason we got rid of that guy.
Yeah, no, that's 100% the reason why we got rid of that guy. We can't afford him.
Yeah, no, I told you before, it's a pretty interesting market out there for cornerbacks, but a lot of those guys got picked up relatively early. But all right, that's really all we got for football, really. I don't think anything else came out, right, Didge?
No, football was pretty light this week.
Yeah, I thought so.
It was a big week last week, so I mean, calm down a little bit.
I mean, next week will be good because the schedule comes out, I think, Thursday.
Yeah.
Yes.
So,
yep.
That should be fun.
Oh, your kid Thibodeau Joel got the number 5 from Graham Gano.
He did. He I think it was $50,000 he paid for that number.
Yep.
Woo! Quite
That's
a price
so crazy.
Yeah,
that's so crazy to love a number so much. You're just like 50,000. Yeah, you can take it.
Yep. I'll make that money.
Superstition.
Serious?
Yeah,
that's a loan.
Yeah, I'll make that back. Here we go, guys. We did get something special. Early Christmas present from the NFL. Christmas Day, we got Rams and Broncos.
Right. I heard about that.
That's gonna be a really fun
game. A good game.
That's gonna be a really
hopefully it's not at the same time as basketball. Though.
Fucking weird.
Yeah.
No, it's going to be the same time as basketball. Unless basketball moves from Sunday, that's usually their peak times, like 12, 3, 6, 8, and 10.
That's gonna be tough. I don't know which one.
Well, if the NBA knows it's good for them, they'll finally have the Knicks back on there again, like last year.
Mm-hmm. If they're not fucking idiots.
Yeah. Then I'll be watching basketball.
But I will tell you this, Didge. This is gonna sound crazy, but I'm 100% watching football over basketball because basketball is 82 games, right? So it's like, all right, you lose Christmas Day. There's tomorrow, the day after, the day after, the day after, the day after. Football, each and every fucking week means something.
And
right?
That's very close to the end of the year. So it's like
right.
I mean, I get it. I'm just probably gonna have to have probably tablet and the TV.
No, that's absolutely. If the Knicks are playing and the Patriots aren't, I'm watching the Knicks. I'm watching the Knicks.
Yeah.
But if New England and the Knicks are playing, split screen, splitting some shit.
Right.
Splitting some shit. Yeah, that's for sure. But this is really ballsy. This is really ballsy by the NFL to just kind of go, you know what? Fuck you. I want Thanksgiving and Christmas. Suck one. And it's just like, what? But what? Like, we don't do anything Thanksgiving for you guys. Why are you doing this to me? Like, why? NFL was just like, no. I think that's just the one that's been announced. It might be more than that.
I think, they said it was a triple header.
Right.
Wow. 3 games.
So that's the NFL's way of saying, hey, basketball, you know this thing called money? Yeah, we've heard of it. We like that.
We want it.
We like that. And apparently people watch you during Christmas. So
I'm very curious to see how that's going to affect the NBA's Christmas.
Here's why. Here's why it won't affect it. You ready for this? I guarantee you, each and every one of those games will be with a superstar. Right? Not just a up-and-coming team. It'll be with a massive name for each and every game. It might even be some like grudge games. Like if Milwaukee beats Boston, that might be the Christmas game, right? A little bit of bad blood there. Might be Memphis and the Warriors, right? Because we saw there was bad blood there. That might be a Christmas game. They're going to make it so it's peak interest. Like, oh shit, like what's Ja Morant going to do in his first game against the Warriors since, blah, blah, blah.
Especially if he doesn't come back.
Right.
Especially
and then the rumor is that he won't. The rumor is
that I haven't even looked yet.
Yeah, they reported it today that it's very likely that he won't be back the rest of the series. So the NBA will definitely hype that, but all the NFL is going to do, there's a reason why they only announced one game. NFL is just like, all right, we'll take our time, see what the fuck you might want to do. Might switch some shit. From Sunday.
They got like scheduling, so
Yeah, I might switch some shit on y'all ass. All right, fuck it, Brady, you're up. Go play a Christmas game, motherfucker. You don't like the kids anyway. Brady was like, oh, bet. Fuck yeah.
Miss Christmas?
Yeah. Oh. What? Oh, yeah. All right, let's move on. Let's get into the NBA. I can't believe Mayfield can't get a job. I fully understand why Baker Mayfield can't get a job. They watched some of those Brown highlights last year and just said, ooh.
I get it.
No. Bro, here's the thing. Baker Mayfield is such a question mark. Pete Carroll sat in the room, right, where he looked at a picture of Drew Lock and a picture of Baker Mayfield and said, Drew Lock. I'm gonna go Drew Lock.
Yeah, that's a bad look. Oh,
I'm gonna go Drew Lock. Yeah, that's 100% a bad look. That is horrible. That is really fucking bad. That's
a very bad look.
That essentially, if that doesn't humble you, nothing will.
Hell, the Texans, they didn't. I'm sure Cleveland would have said, "Yeah, sure, we'll give you Baker." If they would have asked, the Texans are like, "Nah, we're good."
Texans sat in the room and said, "Hey, has it ever been done where we've hiked the football with no quarterback? That ever
We're just gonna run exclusively Wildcat.
We're just running back everything. Everything's running back. We'll mix some receivers in for the Wildcat. No quarterback this year. You know how they're approaching it, Didge? It's like college. This is an off year. This is an off year for us.
We're retooling. We're just gonna retool.
Yeah. No fucking quarterback. I don't need that shit. No, thank you. So that does not say a lot of good things about Baker Mayfield. And on top of that disrespect to Baker Mayfield, I love how the Browns are just like, hey, do me a favor, sign every other possible quarterback so Baker knows that it'll be a cold day in hell before he throws a football for this team again. Because, like, picture if you're Baker, you're like, all right, you know what? Maybe I'll stay here because if he gets suspended, maybe I come on, I play so well, it makes it difficult. And they're just like, no, Jacoby Brissett. And he's like, okay, maybe I can beat out Jacoby Brissett. No, you right there. You, come here. You'll be the backup to Jacoby Brissett. Whatever they need to do to make it clear to Baker, you will not fucking play for us ever again. Like, we upgraded. What they're doing to him is the equivalent of him standing on the side of the road and them driving into a puddle to splash his ass. It's just like, fuck you, Baker.
And it's what makes it wild is it was right after he had that whole commitment to Cleveland thing.
Yeah,
because remember he had just put out that, I think it was like a post or something.
And but remember the post ended with essentially making it sound like a goodbye. He was saying how much he loved Cleveland, right? Because that was the thing. And the Browns are just like, well, all right, well, fuck it, yeah, we'll keep it. Because remember, Deshaun was going to go to the Falcons, which if you're a Falcons fan, that hasn't hit you right in the fucking balls.
I think they feel good about their Desmond Ridder pickup.
Sure.
We'll see.
Sure, but
yeah, obviously
your starter is Marcus Mariota, so that's where you kind of go.
Yeah, former number 1 pick.
So is Baker.
No, he wasn't. But he wasn't the number. Was he? Was Baker?
I think he was.
Let me look.
I think he was. He didn't make it past 5. I know that.
Mariota might have been number 2 now that I think about it.
Mariota was 2 because wasn't somebody black number 1? That sounds really horrible, but I swear to God, someone black.
Baker was the number 1.
I thought so. And who was the Mariota pick?
I'm about to look.
What year was that? That's a good question.
I'm looking.
I don't know, because when I look at Marcus Mariota, I think he's as old as Didge.
Was it Mariota and Winston? No.
It was. It was. Okay, I thought someone black. I'm sorry. It sounds horrible. I got to stop saying it, but I just knew it was somebody black. And he was number 1, right?
Yeah, Jameis Winston was number 1.
I thought so. Yeah, I thought so. But
Mariota also isn't that old. He's 28.
Right. That's why I said I look at Mariota the way you look at Julius Randle, where I'm just like, you've been here forever.
Yeah, I looked up Julius Randle after that, and I was like, God, he is younger than me.
Because like when I think of Marcus Mariota, I think he's been in the league long enough that we've beat the Titans in the playoffs in a game where it was like, could Marcus Mariota dethrone Tom Brady? And Brady was like, no. Like,
no.
Huh? I don't know why you're asking that. Have you seen him? So I'm like, I just imagine he's been there forever. It's like Ryan Tannehill. I don't remember a time where he's not been in the NFL. That's how old in my head they are. I just
Ryan
can't remember when they haven't.
Somebody could tell me Ryan Tannehill was the same age as Tom Brady. And I'd be like, all right.
100%. 100%. 100%.
Wow.
You also, you know what, Did you also could tell me Matt Ryan is the age Tom Brady is, and I would go, yeah, I believe it.
Yes, Matt Ryan. I feel like been in the league since I was
I remember when they drafted Matt Ryan. So
I don't. Matt Ryan feel like he been in the league.
I remember when they drafted Tannehill. I remember that too.
I remember when they drafted Matt Ryan because I remember them going, "Oh my God, heir apparent to Vic, finally a franchise quarterback we can wrap our head around." And it was just like, "Oof, you were kind of wrong. you were a field goal away from wrong."
He wasn't,
and it was an MVP season. No. But he definitely wasn't somebody that if you look back on, you're like, "Yeah, that was our franchise guy." Like you look back and you're just like.
He was. He's just, it wasn't good enough, at the end of the game. Sadly.
Matt Ryan.
What is listener Jim says he's a guy that plays hurt. Most teams back guys that are willing to put the body on the line, but not him. He's still young and lots of upside, I would think. Yeah, so what does that tell you, listener Jim? What does that tell you that the NFL likes all those things and he's still not on another team? It tells you
it's insane.
None of that matters. None of that matters. You know what they probably did? You remember the game the Browns played against New England last year, where they scored one scoring? I'm sorry, they scored one. They probably looked at a lot of games like that Baker Mayfield put on last year and said no.
But to be fair, he played a lot of the season hurt.
And to them, as the great Shannon Sharp says,
it didn't matter.
It did not matter because, as Shannon Sharp says, and a lot of people in the NFL think, if you're on the field, you're healthy. You're healthy. It does not matter. True. If you were that hurt, you wouldn't have played.
I mean, most of their games, it looks like I'm looking at their sort of. It went downhill. Like after that Chargers game,
drastically downhill.
They were,
but to be fair, he was missing Nick Chubb for a lot of games. Like there's a lot more that goes into it. Obviously, Jarvis Landry is a shell of himself. Obviously, Odell Beckham got released. There was a lot of things that went into that. But here's the problem: I don't fucking care because what I could say is, if you did your job well, but you just couldn't win games, I won't hold that against you. You were playing like shit in those games that they were losing. That's why I say, nah, that doesn't matter to me. None of that matters to me. None of that does.
Yeah, it was a major drop off. You're right.
Yeah. So they probably looked at that and said, Drew Lock. Oof. Like, I'm hesitant, but come on. We'll try it. But to be fair, look, Pete Carroll feels as though he has the magic. Nobody saw Russell Wilson coming. Nobody on earth saw Russell Wilson turning into what he did.
No.
When he got drafted, they were just like, okay, nice little piece to have. We'll see if he can beat out what's his name, Matt Flynn. And then Russell Wilson was just like, hey, bitch, I'm a future Super Bowl winning quarterback. And it was just like, oh shit, who knew? So that's all I'm saying. Maybe he does have some magic or voodoo he can put on Drew Lock that gets him to where they need to go. Who knows? All right, let's move on to basketball. So Didge, I'll let you kick this off, man. We have a tie series. Celtics Bucks are 2-2. Al Horford not only found the fountain of youth, but found a way to drink all of that motherfucker for that one game. I always look at Al Horford in that game like Goku summoning the spirit bomb. Like, it's like once he lands that shit, he is done. Like, you will see a lot of 4-point, 10-point games going forward. Al Horford said, I shot my load for this 2-2. I show up. Tatum, Brown, fucking show up. I gave all I had. But what were your thoughts, Didge, on this series now being 2-2?
I mean, so we had 3 very great quarters. And I think, like we were talking before we started, Giannis I think he just got tired fourth quarter because that fourth quarter was a disaster.
Mm-hmm. Points allowed, dog.
Yeah, 43 and a quarter should never happen.
And I'm sorry, and time out. You're missing something, Didge, because Didge is a Bucks fan, so he'll leave this part out. They only missed 3 to 4 shots. They only missed 3 to 4 shots.
That was actually my next point. Even if we're talking Al Horford in general, man shot 71% from 3, 78% in general. You're not going to win when a team's number 3 option, maybe even number 4 option, is doing that to you. And it was just. I do think the missing Middleton is sort of starting to wear on us because, like we were saying earlier, Drew Holiday, he's not expected to be the number 2 scorer. We're not getting the role player step up that we need to get it. So for a lot of the time, it is Giannis putting basically his entire life on the court. And he can will us to it for sure. We've seen it before. But this Boston defense has a very good way of weighing on you. And when he gets tired, we get sort of the fourth quarter of last game where we just need somebody else to step up. I need Coach Bud to stop putting all of these minutes to George Hill. Like if we can get Juwaan Carter to get some more minutes, I think that will help. If we can get some shots to fall from Bobby Portis, if we can get some shots to fall just from other players where Giannis doesn't have to fucking just blow his load in 3 quarters and hope that that's enough. I say all of that to say, I do still feel good about the rest of the series. We won one in Boston before. We can win another in Boston. And then if we can win this next one in Boston, that has to bring them back to Milwaukee where, yes, sure they won, but the emotion will hopefully be there. And maybe they'll surprise us and we can get Middleton back. Now, I would love it if we can just get that surprise.
Okay, so how I see it as I pass it to you, Joel, is I recall Giannis knocking off the Phoenix Suns in the finals last year by dropping a 50 burger. Am I correct in that, Didge?
Yep.
Okay. I believe Giannis will have to end this series in 2 50-point games. Unless Bobby Portis shocks you and gets 15 to 20, Lopez gets you a good 10 to 12. Like, unless some of these ancillary pieces just have out-of-body experiences for these next few games, it's all on Giannis. So if it's all on Giannis, he's got to go full bore. I mean, full bore. 54, 12, and 10 kind of shit.
But I mean, we've seen what they can do to stop Boston. They did it game 1. Mm-hmm. I don't think that was that they were shocked. I think the Bucks came in with a different energy that they haven't shown the past 3 games. Obviously, we took the one in Milwaukee that got way too close that it needed to be. But I think we know that we can do it. Unfortunately, Boston also knows that they can do it. So it comes down to who can do it more.
The biggest demoralizing thing for me is I saw a game where Jason Tatum had only 10 points and they were a tip-in within going to overtime. So I'm like, if Jason Tatum can play shitty and they're able to still be in it, we have yet to have a breakout Jason Tatum game yet in this series. Now, you can make an argument.
That same game. I was just going to say, so that same game, Al Horford had 22 and 16. Jaylen Brown had like 27 and 12 or something. So it's like that same game, they had other players step up because it's like Jaylen Brown didn't do much this last game, but Tatum and Horford and Tatum both did. So it always comes to something like that. Where we haven't had that.
So I'll put it like this, and Joe, I want you to take over for this. I'll put it like this. I'm putting my money on Tatum having a breakout game before I'm putting my money on your role players having a like an outer body experience kind of games where it's just oh shit, Bobby Portis 5 of 10. You know what I'm saying? Like something like that. I'm not saying they can't. Let me be very clear. They won a championship last year. I'm not saying they can't. I just have to put my money on the superstar, right? And I'm like, Giannis, that's a given. He'll get that every night, all day, all night. Tatum is due that 35-42 kind of game. And I see that happen.
Tatum hasn't been a scrub this series. Man scored
No. Not at all. Not at all. But when you see a superstar, you're looking for that superstar to have that massive game, right? Like, to me, if Ja Morant was still healthy in that Warriors series, Steph, Clay have not had one of those monumental games where it's just like, oh, that's that motherfucker right there. They've had good games, but for them, they're not just good players. They're great players. So you look at some of these losses that they had and you're like, you didn't really show up. Where are you? You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, when their back is against the wall, I want to put my money on Tatum showing out. Where that comes from, I don't know. But I know if he wants to take that next step and be considered one of the top players in the league, this is where you started. This is exactly where you started. But Joel, how do you see this series turning out between the Bucks and Celtics?
Well, it seems to be like a back and forth. Not like I want it to go. But it is what it is at the moment. I don't understand why they switched up the lineup. I thought they were doing well with the lineup the way they had it, but they put what's his name? White boy, what's his name?
Who?
Pat Connaughton? Which team?
No, not the Bucks.
So
the Boston had to make a change in the lineup because Robert Williams went down, but the Bucks didn't, and they went with
Grayson Allen.
Grayson Allen.
Yes, okay, I didn't know. That's all. Like, I don't know where you're going with this. Okay.
Yeah, Grayson Allen started, right?
Mm-hmm.
No, did he? I don't think he started.
Also, yeah, I think he started.
I don't know why.
Also missed like the first 3 or 4 minutes of the game. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think he started.
Because I know Bobby didn't play as much, and he didn't, and it looks like he came off the bench. Because I checked the box score like every game. Like, I have a weird thing with looking at box scores. So like if I miss the game or I miss a lot of the game, I'll just look at the box score. Now it doesn't tell you everything, right. But it obviously, just looking at the box score, you can tell Giannis needed help. Now I saw some of the beginning of that game, and it was dominant. Like they were winning, Bucks were winning. It was Boston kept making comebacks, but the Bucks kept pushing them back. So I figured that's how it was going to end. And then the fourth, again, I didn't see the fourth quarter
was just insane.
I know. They collapsed. And maybe that was just a one-off that happens. I mean, unless you're the Knicks, it was like every game. It seemed like, but like for the Bucks, maybe he did run out of gas. It was the team defense wasn't good. You know, and Boston found something. They found some type of rhythm. And
points in a quarter is bad.
Right, exactly. You can't give up 43 points in a quarter. I mean, you can't let Al Horford, he was reminded he was an all-star one time, come back to life. You know what I mean? And look, Al Horford is still good. You can't. That man is too old to be showing up Giannis Antetokounmpo. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? It's just not happening. But look, it happens. Giannis didn't really have a lot of help. They miss Middleton. They do. And look, Bobby will. I mean, Porter's just not consistent enough at the moment. That's really what it comes down to. And look, even Allen, like when he's hot, right? One game he had like 7 threes, like the first game, right? Boston game, killed him. So we'll see what happens. Boston is again not a team to be messed with. But though Milwaukee did expose them in this series, which that's why I feel like it might go 7. I'm leaning still towards Milwaukee because like I'm just gonna give them the benefit of the doubt. They're the defending champions, you know what I mean? But Boston didn't have Rob Williams the last game. You can make excuses for everybody, but at the end of the day, Milwaukee didn't get the stops they needed to end that game.
Right. Yeah. I think it's still going 7 games. I'm just leaning more towards, I just think the better team not the necessarily better player. The better team is Boston. And we'll see if that can come true. Because like you said, if Milwaukee pulls out of this, I wouldn't be like, that is so weird. I'd be like, well, they are the defending champions for a reason. Like they're not scrubs, you know? Right. So I could see it going either way. But if my feet to the fire, I'm definitely going Boston. All right, let's go to the series now. That's in a minute and 45 seconds, we'll officially go up 3-2 Miami with the lead over Philly. That game is virtually completely.
I'm about to say the lead, mother.
Yeah,
I just looked at that again. I haven't turned it around. I have it on behind me, but I haven't turned around to see the score. I just went on ESPN. Like, God.
Yeah, like, that's a complete.
I don't know what to make of this series.
Okay, so fucking weirdest back and forth.
I'm gonna say this. So what it looks like is, Cleveland's name just says, "Oh, later, guys, got to go. Thanks for interest and opinions and laughs." No problem, listener Jim. We appreciate you for joining us.
Thank you for showing up for even sports talk, man.
Right? Yeah, we appreciate that for sure. He is a big sports fan himself, so I figured he would like us doing this. My biggest thing with the Sixers is you have Embiid, nothing else. Nothing else. Now I know someone will go, well, one of those two victories that they got, Harden really showed out, and I would go, well, my problem is it was one out of the 5 games they played so far. Yeah. So, and Didge, I want to pass this to you because I have no opinion about this series whatsoever. I hate Miami for Nick reasons, with an intense passion. I hate Miami, but I also hate Philly with an intense passion.
I hate everything except Milwaukee in the East right now, so it's very hard. It really is hard.
So for me, I have no opinion on the series, but I did want to say this. I think James Harden at this point in his career, you know where I think would be a perfect fit for him because there's no pressure on him individually. And he already has a player that's a billion times better than him right now. And a second player that you could argue just on how he's playing, not talent, just on how he's playing, is on equal playing field. I think somewhere like Milwaukee is perfect for James Harden. I really do. Being your second unit, he would be perfect.
Whoa, you're not bringing him off the bench. Now you're just talking.
James Harden,
100%. We were talking about bringing Russell Westbrook off the bench. What are we talking about?
I don't want to put him off the bench either, unless he's coming off for like cheap.
I'm not paying him a max deal. No, that's my point. I'm not paying him a max deal. But to me, there should be no team that's willing to pay him a max deal outside of Philly. Fuck, I want to pay him for. What does he do?
They traded for him. They better fucking pay him.
That's my thing. So I'm like, I understand Philly doing it, sure. But to me, I'm like, he needs to go somewhere where he doesn't have to be 1 or 2. If he could go somewhere where he doesn't have to be 1 or 2, he would be fucking perfect because he's a great facilitator. He could set your guys up, but it just looks like if you're asking him to be old Harden of 30 a night, 30 and 10 a night, he's not that guy anymore. He can do it sporadically, but he's just not that guy anymore. So I'll change the question, Didge, to where do you see James Harden being a good fit if you don't just assume he'll just stay in Philly?
I do agree with you saying that he does need to go somewhere where he probably does have to go back to that 6th man role.
Crazy.
I don't think it'd be a good fit in Milwaukee. The city doesn't like him.
Really?
He had too many comments about Giannis.
That's right.
During that whole thing.
I will say this though. I did watch Matt Barnes shit on Kobe and then join that team.
That is true. That is
so I'm
true.
like, I've seen it happen before.
That is very true. But then also, we've also seen too much of what's happened with the last basically 3 teams that he's went to. I mean, the Sixers hasn't blown up yet, but the way that they're playing, I think it's only a matter of time. I think, like you said, he's probably not a number 1 or number 2 option anymore at this point in his career.
No.
I could see a team like a New Orleans where they're young, they're very young, and all they need. New Orleans was very young, and they just need a little bit more firepower.
Yeah, so but my problem with New Orleans is you're essentially getting the same problem you had in Brooklyn. CJ McCollum is their point guard. So I'm like, essentially, you're just telling me you're putting two ball handlers.
But he's the second unit.
Right, but here's the difference. When I was saying I would have him come off the bench, remember, he was closing games for OKC coming off the bench. So I'm like, he still has the close.
I don't know.
So what would his role be if the primary ball handler is I'm not saying they couldn't share the ball. We saw Kyrie and Harden do it. But we also saw Harden get very frustrated because he's like, I'm not just going to fucking stand in the corner, Kyrie. And Kyrie's like, well, my whole game is dribbling, James. So it's like,
that's fair.
What are we going to do?
I was looking at it more as, I don't know if he's closing games as much. Obviously, unless he's on a hot streak. But I see a team where they're young. They need just a little bit more firepower, especially to compete in the West. The West is like stacked. So
I have a funny opinion on that. I think their firepower will just purely come from Zion. I think if Zion was healthy playing with that squad, that series could have looked differently. Not saying it would have. It could have looked different.
It would have been very different.
100%.
I don't count Zion just because obviously when he's there, he plays great. Right. Like, it's when he's there. So
oh no, I won't argue that, but I'm saying to me, that team doesn't look like they need to be loaded up. They look like if CJ McCollum can stay in this form, right? You can get Brandon Ingram continuing to make strides forward and then bringing in Zion. Because look, here's how I know they were only missing Zion, not immense firepower. When CJ got fouled out in that last game, that go home game, right?
Sure.
They were tripling Ingram and they had nobody else to step up. You can't triple Ingram when Zion can kill all your number one defenders, like one-on-one.
I'd say Zion, when he is playing, he is immense firepower. Because we saw what he did.
There you go. Yeah.
But
bro,
like I said,
I watched Zion drop 40 from somebody of that size that's just dunking. I look at this motherfucker. I'm like, I've only seen that shit from like Shaq. How the fuck do you do that?
It's just the when he's playing. Until I can see him consistently healthy, I can't put him as, the firepower, because your gun is only as great as if you can shoot it. And if your gun is always broken.
Here's my thing. He didn't play at all this year. So if you miss even one fucking game last year, I'm asking, what did you do all this year? Right? You didn't play at all. So you could say, oh, that's your rehab, that's your coming back. So to get in now, if you get injured again, obviously I'm not speaking to that. Right. But if you're sitting out longer for this same injury, it's like, I don't
Kawhi
understand.
Did it.
But Kawhi went out at the end of last year and he just missed. I'm saying if Kawhi is still missing games next year because of the same injury, I'm looking at it the same way. What the fuck are you doing? What was this whole year?
No, that's true.
Like, come on now.
I do think at the end of the day, though, Harden's probably just going to re-sign in Philly.
Right.
I'm pretty sure. But I think going to a young team that just sort of needs a little bit more oomph and coming off the bench, not even, I guess coming off the bench sounds harsh because you assume like low minutes, but like that 6-man role where you're not starting, but you probably have 25, 30 minutes in the game.
100%. That's why I said, to me, and I was listening to Kenny say that when they were talking about how Russell Westbrook should come off the bench, they were saying it should never be how you start it. It's how you finish it. Right. So if you're finishing games with this starting lineup, I'm just telling you that I need you to help the second unit, or you're really hurting my first unit. So it's like, it's not like, oh, you suck or you're not the man anymore. It's just, I want to utilize you somewhere else. Right. Right. It's like when you've only played quarterback your whole life and you get into the NFL and they're like, you'd be a great cornerback. And it's like, I'm sorry, what? It's like, I just, That doesn't make any sense to me. Right. So to me, I just look at it more so as like, you could still play starter minutes. You're just not part of the starting lineup. That's all that is. So to me, I'm like, I think that's where he would be more effective. Because I'm looking at it right now. There was no Joel Embiid, and you were shitting the bed. So I'm like, well, if you're gonna look like this, I want to at least hide it. I want to hide the shit, right? I want to mask it. come off the bench. That way, if you play shitty, I'm like, well, he's coming off the bench. he's my sixth man.
Utah could be an interesting, especially if they're losing Donovan Mitchell.
You mean when they lose Donovan Mitchell? Yeah, I agree. I agree.
I mean, yeah,
when they do.
Yeah, so that can also be interesting. I mean, yeah, I think it's sooner rather than later with him, but I mean,
yo, I was freaking out the other day. Everyone was like sports pages were like, Donovan Mitchell seen at the game. I'm like, Mets game? They're like, no, like playoff, like NBA playoff game. I'm like, fuck. Anything to bring him to New York City.
Anything in New York?
Yeah, come to some Met games, motherfucker. You a Mets fan? They're doing really good. Bring your ass here. But no, Utah, I would like that. My only issue is then James Harden is easily your best player. And we just finished saying that does not seem to be a successful recipe.
I mean, it would be very I feel like I don't know. Yeah, you might be right. I'm just grasping at straws.
No. I'm not even trying to say it like that. I'm just saying anywhere we're thinking of him going can't be a franchise where he would have to be given the keys. Right? It would have to be one of those, he's now the valet. Like, hey, can you park this car for me? Like, not he's driving up, handing the keys off. No, I need you to park this shit. Like, just park.
Yeah.
So that again, that's how I look at it. It's just it seems like it's just not in him anymore. It's just not. That's really what it looks like. Because unless Space Jam happened in real life, I refuse to believe he just lost talent overnight. So I'm not buying that. You know what I'm saying?
Insane. Yeah, I don't get it.
I don't remember, and again, my memory of NBA literally stems from 2003 to now, but I don't remember a more questionable drop-off from a superstar. Right?
No, I guess from a superstar. I was gonna say, you've had those flash in the pan years where you think that, sure. oh, this is gonna be his breakout, and then it just doesn't pan.
Right, but they're not already an established superstar, right? And I don't even think you can throw age at it. He's not that old.
Oh.
No, yeah. I think Harden's probably
31, maybe
32.
32?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So but I'm like
still young enough.
But you can make an argument. They would argue 25 to about 30, 32, 33, especially in today's NBA. That's your prime right there.
Yeah.
Those are your prime years. And then after that, unless you're fucking LeBron, you start to dwindle. So I'm like, you would hope that these are years he's still cultivating 30 and 10 kind of nights. So I pass it to you, Joel. What do you see going on with James Harden, and how do you see this Miami and Sixer series turning out?
That series seems to be going back and forth too, even though it started off pretty one-sided. Mm-hmm. And then of course we're to the rescue, Joel Embiid. That looked nice in the beginning, and then and tonight happened. So it's like it's kind of hard to read what exactly is going on there, but I don't think I'm not ready to bench James Harden because I think it all comes down to like money. I'm not paying you to sit on the bench unless he's willing to sit on the bench and get paid to be sitting on the fucking bench. You get what I'm saying? I'm not paying you to sit on the bench. You get what I'm trying to say?
I hear what you're saying, but to me, as a franchise, it would bother me a lot more to pay you a shit ton of money and you're laying goose eggs like you have been in these playoffs. That would bother me more. That would bother me so much more. You're starting and you fucking look like this every night? No.
What happened with Westbrook this year? There were some bad games. There were some bad.
I mean, Jenny Buss already came out and said it specifically that she's disappointed in that.
Right.
Yeah. What happened with Westbrook this year was crazy.
And remember, the organization gave Frank Vogel their blessing to bench Russ. And Frank Vogel just said, no, I think he can maybe turn this around. Let's just stick with it. And it'll cost him his job. So maybe don't do that if you're a franchise going forward.
And clearly isn't like, I don't know why he didn't like me.
What's insane?
When he said that, I was just like, you mean Frank? You mean I won't bench you, Frank? You think that guy didn't like you? I don't understand. What? Go ahead, Didge. Go ahead.
What's insane with the Russell Westbrook thing is this is why that's the epitome of why you couldn't just look at numbers. because we know how bad Russell Westbrook looked. When you look at his numbers, and specifically points, he's 4-ish off of his average from prior years. Like, other than there were a couple years where he had the high 20s, and I think one year he hit 30, but he was always around that 21, 22, 23 range. And this year he was 18.5. And you can put him, you can accustom that to, well, now you're playing with LeBron. Your numbers are going to go down a little bit on points. And his assists and rebounds, he was still 7 and 7, where it's like, yes, they're not the triple doubles that we've been accustomed to because of those other years, but it's like, that's still a pretty decent season if you're looking at it strictly from that. What it was is, honestly, even the turnover numbers, he averaged less turnovers than he had since his very early career. But yeah, it looks so bad.
The biggest issue with Russell Westbrook is he's not a shooter, right? So it's like, he is a ball dominant guard. And it's like, well, you just joined with a ball dominant point forward who also isn't the greatest shooter. So I'm like, it's not even like Russ can run the offense, kick to LeBron for an open three, right? LeBron's not the most efficient guy. So it's like, all right, well, now your three best players aren't great shooters. So now you're just asking for ISO. And when you do ISO, it's like, well, Russell Westbrook's going to freak out and turn over the ball. That's just who that guy is, right? He gets himself in Julius Randle situations and then just goes, somebody else take it. And it's like, Russ, that's not how that works.
It's crazy.
Like, it's not how it works. Yeah, they're like running backs in basketball. Like, why are you just putting your head down running? Did you want to look maybe to see what you're running into? Like, there's three people here. So to me, his biggest issue was you're going to a team with none of your three stars are shooters. So it's like, well, then who's kicking out to who? You kick out to LeBron, he pump fakes and drives it, and then kicks it out to you. You then pump fake, drive it, kick it out to AD. He then pump fakes. Like, there's only been so much time on the shot clock. So it's like, that is why that was one of the biggest issues for them. Because it's like, what? You had to understand that this wasn't going to work. Like, you just
that was just a bad idea.
Right. So again, Joel, I don't disagree with you. We're not talking about Marbury under D'Antoni. I'm with you. I'm not okay paying somebody to sit their ass down. Yeah. But I also don't want to pay you and your numbers look like they haven't in the playoffs right now. That's all I'm saying is my issue. So I start you, but you still shit the bed. So it's like, I got to mask the smell. And the best way to do that is to have you at least come off the bench to where maybe you could be more effective.
I get that, but I don't think he's there yet. This guy, I mean, even in playoffs, the problem is in the playoffs, he kind of just goes away. Like, I don't know.
That's been his issue all career.
You're right. No, when it comes down to a series of games, for some reason, he just cannot consistently bring it. But during the season, he still averages 20 and 10. Like, that's crazy. Like, I can't bring you off the bench. You're doing that. And he's not gonna want to come off the bench. That's another thing. Like, what he has to literally go to a franchise and say, "I want to do whatever you want, and I'll take a reasonable contract." And then that's different. There has to be like an agreement between the two.
The Clippers.
I'm just saying.
I don't think he's mentally there yet.
I'm just saying basketball works differently than football, right? So it's like, all right, I don't have a quarterback. So if a quarterback is available, I'm just taking whatever's available, whatever he wants to do, we're doing because I desperately need it, right? In today's game, if Philly doesn't re-sign Harden and he goes on the trade market, I just don't see a franchise desperate enough to go, I'm just handing him the keys. Whatever he wants to do, no matter what, we're letting him do it. If he's playing off and still wants to start, even though we think he's better coming off the bench, we're not going to say a word.
Here's the thing. There's going to be a franchise that is willing to pay
Clippers.
him and start him.
For sure.
Good teams that he's willing to go to, are they willing to do that? That's really what it comes down to.
And that's why I'm saying I don't think Harden will just sign with a team to sign with a team. I think he wants to get he wants to win.
He wants to ring.
Right. He wants to win. And if you want to win and I'm a winning franchise and I'm looking at what I'm looking at here in Philly, I'm 100% going, okay, some nights, sure, you start. Other nights, I may fucking want you to come off the bench. That's what you're going to do. That's just what you're going to do. Sorry. You know, and most of the good teams today have two really good players. So it's like, you're not even the number one best player on this team, let alone the second fucking best player on this team.
Well, he's
on most he could. On most he could, for sure.
The number two.
On most teams he is.
Go ahead, Didge.
It's the Clippers. It's because he doesn't have to. He doesn't have to be number one or number two. We're assuming obviously Kawhi's back healthy, but then you're running your team primarily through Kawhi and PG. And when you need that, when they have to take their rest, because Reggie Jackson is going to be their starting point guard.
I was just about to say, I'm not punishing Reggie Jackson like that.
So that's their starting point guard. So this is where it goes back to that 6-man. So like I said, 25, 30 minutes thing, where when they do need a break, you can run a Reggie Jackson and James Harden and have them do the 1 and 2. That'll work.
Yep.
But it comes also back to, will he set his ego aside? And to Joel's point, he plays well enough in the regular season that I get it. He probably should be starting. But when it comes to shoving the playoffs, when, rotations get shorter, minutes get longer, things get a little bit more intense, it might be a good look.
Yeah, but what's his name I was listening to the other day was saying that's what's so confusing about guys' mentalities in basketball, because it's essentially you think I come off the bench, so you're limiting my touches, but it's no, you're coming off the bench with nobody on this bench that's even close to being better than you. You get all the fucking touches instead of sharing it with your other stars on the starting lineup. You get all the touches. So you're 20 and 10, you could still average that off the bench. You know what I'm saying? You could still average that off the bench. Nothing stops that. But
because it doesn't matter. Like you're saying, it really doesn't matter. Starting or coming off the bench, really doesn't matter. You're right. Because you can get your stats regardless. It's all about the minutes, when you play, how long you play.
Right.
But
and you can adjust that too.
How long did it take Carmelo Anthony to realize, look, you got to come off the bench, buddy?
I guarantee if he could have redone it, he would have changed it.
It's an ego. And look, that man, he's been the man for a long time. It's going to take a long, and look, he's still putting up good numbers. Yeah, so he's had him a shitty playoff game. Last game, he fucking killed it. You comparing the two, you know what I mean? It's just, it's that's why I think it's still too soon. He's still playing too well to ask him to do that. But if he's willing to do that, I'll sacrifice, and that's different.
I'm just saying, I like your pick of the Clippers, Didge. I'm just saying, if I'm any other franchise that's not Philly, right? And I'm looking at how my roster is. Let's not even say a team. Let's not even give a team. Let's just say I'm looking at how my roster is. I like my starting lineup. I'm telling you that in my pitch. And if that means you don't come here, you just don't come here, right? Because I'm saying I'm not going to. Again, his numbers are great, right? But again, it was a lot of this year, sorry. A lot of his numbers could still be that great. Why? There were a lot of games where there's no Kyrie, right? Now, what would his numbers have been if Kyrie played all year and it's Kyrie, Harden, and Durant? They would look different. 100% they would look different. He would not average 20 and 10 because the go-to is Kyrie and Durant.
He still averaged similar last year. And they played together. You know what I'm saying?
Kyrie and Harden?
Because Harden was the point guard in Brooklyn.
Right. But I think they played less together last year than they did this year.
I think so too.
Yeah. Because last year he came in the middle of the season. And Kyrie towards the end.
That's because it was a mid-season trade, right?
Right, yeah.
That's true. But again, his numbers weren't super reflective. It wasn't fucking. It wasn't him.
Absolutely, but I think that again, you're not wrong. Let me just be very clear, Joel. You're not wrong. I'm just saying a large 82 games of that. I have to imagine that it will be, right? Even if you are the point guard, I have to imagine that Durant and Kyrie call for that ball, right? And the way Harden was playing, he was deferring.
His points might go down. His assists are going to be 10. He's still
100%. He might get fucking 13 assists. I'm just talking about points. So I'm saying that to me is a look. You going from averaging 30 and 10 to now averaging 15 and 10, that's as much of a look as you coming off the bench. That's a crazy ass look.
Right now, you're trying to sell something. I'm not playing. You're not trying to sell me.
No, I'm just saying, like I said, I'm with you on the idea of it's still too fresh. It is. But to me, I look at Westbrook all year this year and I go, they allowed ego, not his, but they allowed the look of it, right? And the storyline of it to literally be at the detriment of your starting
control lineup. It.
Right. And that's all I'm saying. If I'm a franchise, I'm letting you know from the meeting Not the first day of practice. The meeting.
Even Westbrook.
And that's not what I'm doing.
Westbrook started. He ended the year 18-7-7.
Right.
Which is low on his for him, that's low. But 44% from the field, 30% from three, 67% from the free throw line are shitty fucking percentages. You know, for a guy that plays 34 minutes. But I understand why they struggled, because like you invested that much into a guy that's getting paid a shit ton of money. And that's really what it comes down to. And they screwed themselves, because it was more than just Westbrook. You can blame it on Russell all you want. It was way more than that.
You also could blame it on the fact that you didn't want to give DeMar DeRozan a third year. Like, that to me is where I start.
They were also hurt a lot too. You got injury prone player. Like, AD's injury prone. He was hurt a lot this year. They didn't play together a lot, you know?
He was,
It's just the Lakers they have their own issues.
They sure do. Now you bring Phil Jackson into the mix, and it's just like,
oh my God, God bless them.
Did you close your eyes during the New York Knicks years? Because we didn't. We lived it, and it was horrible.
Imagine having the season you just had with the Lakers and being told Phil's coming in.
Phil Jackson's walking in. You're just like, all right, that doesn't sound good.
Not to coach.
That's why I'm like, look, Didge, I said it before. I said it to Joel. I swear to God, if I was LeBron and I heard that him and Jeannie have made up and he's going to be around a lot more, I'm calling Cleveland tomorrow and saying, put together a package. Put together a fucking package. I'm coming home.
At this point, LeBron is just sort of, he's just playing. I like he said it so many times that he just wants to play with his son. So I think he's just out there.
No better place than to play with your son at home in Cleveland. Play with him there. Fuck.
Yeah, but like, all of his off court business endeavors. LeBron is Hollywood now.
So he can take a flight.
He wants to be Hollywood.
That's true.
Which is understandable. Fuck.
I get it.
Call Clippers and say, hey, give them Paul George. Let me go play with Kawhi. Like, fuck that. All right. Go ahead, Didge. What were you saying?
No, I was gonna say LeBron's out here. I'll go to Inglewood. I think that's
I'll go to Inglewood. Yeah, I'll learn how to crip walk, whatever I need to do. All right, let's move on. Let's move on to Warriors Grizzlies. This has been a very physical series, some may say dirty series. A lot of back and forth, but ultimately Golden State is up 3-1. Look, I'll tell you this: if you're Memphis, you're very lucky Ja Morant had that 40-point game, because if he didn't, you'd be home already. Yeah. You'd be home right now. You'd be cleaning out your lockers. So Joel, I want to start off with you on this one. Have you viewed this series as a dirty series, A? And B, do you kind of see if Ja Morant can't play tomorrow that the writing's just on the wall for the Grizzlies?
The writing was on the wall at the end of the last game, in my opinion. The way it ended, because they were up. I mean, they had a chance to win that game, and without Ja,
hit the bed, right?
And they collapsed. And
wait, I wanted to give you a stat, Joel, that you would love. You ready for this?
Yes, please. Yeah.
Steven Adams and Jaren Jackson were in the starting lineup, and the Warriors out-rebounded Jaren Jackson and Steven Adams playing a death lineup. They played a death lineup with Kuminga in the starting lineup and out-rebounded the Grizzlies. Joel, I know that is your pet peeve. That is what would get you kicking kids if you had to be a coach. So I just wanted to add that in there because I know how much you love that stat.
And it wasn't by like 1 or 2. It wasn't by like 1 or 2. It was by like 6.
48 to 54.
And Kuminga again was in the starting lineup with
Wiggins and Green had double-digit rebounds.
Yes, they did.
Only Steven Adams rebounded for the fucking Grizzlies, apparently.
Yep.
What the fuck are you out there for, Jaren? Honestly, like, what are you doing?
Not even him, Joel. Look at Dylan Brooks' height. Why are you not getting some
5 rebounds for Dylan?
Like, what the hell?
Tyus had 6 for a point guard. That's actually good. Bane had 1. And Kyle Anderson at 8, that's not bad. And Brandon Clark, he only played 11 minutes, but still, I expect more than 4 rebounds from Brandon Clark. Wow.
I just had to throw that in there, Joel, because I figured you didn't know that, and you're the only person that I know that values that. As much as I know you value
Jaren It's so important to get rebounds, bro.
Steph Curry out-rebounded Jaren Jackson.
Yeah.
That's what it is. He's not the strongest rebounder. But man, bro, you can't be getting out rebound like that, bro. You had 3 guys. Basically, literally had 9. So like you had almost 3 guys have double digit rebound. That's hustle.
Yep.
All that's all hustle. That's all it is. They at the end of the day, they out hustled you. And that probably, you know what? I bet most of those rebounds came at the fourth quarter or some shit. I bet it was probably close most of the game, and then boop, the Golden State, they outscored them by 10 points in the fourth quarter. Memphis outscored them in the third quarter. So it was really a close game. They took
it was.
Don't forget the crucial moment of game 2, where Wiggins came in with 3 Grizzly defenders ready to grab a rebound. Wiggins flew in, grabbed that rebound, saved it, and gave them the that possession that helped them go up to get that game 2 victory.
Respect,
so I'm like,
fucking Andrew Wiggins.
They've been hustling the Golden State because they know the size is the problem for them.
Yes.
Right. So it's just like, well, now it comes down to hustle. Right. Now it just comes down to hustle. And apparently Golden State just wants it more. You know, when Ja Morant's there, he wants it more than anybody breathing on that court. But when he's not there, it just seems like Golden State just has the will. It just has more will.
I mean, the Grizzlies have been known to play well without Ja. I mean, they did it that day. They just couldn't close. And look, who's expecting? Like, I honestly expect the Golden State might take it all the way. Honestly,
I'm still going Golden State.
Yeah, it's hard. They have a death lineup again. It's a fucking asshole.
They do. And I think their biggest secret weapon that they're not utilizing, because I think Kerr just doesn't. I think Kerr is like a better Thibodeau, but still Thibodeau. He doesn't trust kids. And I'm like, I'm looking at your first round pick from last year just sitting on the bench. He's not still hurt, I don't believe, because they rehabbed him and everything before the season ended. He played in the G League a little bit. Yeah, Wiseman.
He's out for the season.
Yeah, really?
They're not going to bring him back till next year. Yeah,
he's not in the playoff. He's not in the playoff roster.
Yeah.
That's crazy. He rehabbed.
He was out the whole year. Yeah, they didn't want to bring him back apparently for the playoffs. So.
Oh, that's crazy. Picture how much scarier they'll be when that motherfucker gets.
I know.
Like, goodness gracious. Ugh. But I'm sorry. Go ahead, Joe. I just wanted to add that in because I'm like, well, shit, that's more size they could have that they're not utilized. I've never seen a team outside of anyone Mike D'Antoni's ever coached that is just like, I trust my small lineup more than I do your big lineup. And it's just like, how does this work?
Donnie Nelson used to do that too, motherfucker.
Goodness
gracious.
like, it shouldn't work. Yeah, he had a setback. Okay, that makes sense. Because I'm like, he rehabbed. He did the G League and everything, played really well.
He had a setback in one of those G League games.
Got you. Okay, I got you. Go ahead, Joel.
Good, man.
I agree. He's really good.
Yeah, Golden State got lucky. Wiseman they lucked into, and then they got pulled out, came out of nowhere. So it's like,
and Peyton's coming into his own.
Yeah, Gary Payton has been a nice piece, and that's a guy undrafted. That guy, I mean, well, he's been around. And they're just a guy that stuck on and made his way out like into the rotation. Which is good for him, you know. He's been a good defensive force for them, and that's important for especially a team like that likes to play small, and he plays bigger than his size, right? And he got it in his veins, bro. It's Gary Payton II.
Yo, bro, when I saw Gary Payton II balling and they showed the camera of his dad and his dad was stone cold face, I said, oh, yeah. This kid's going to be a monster. This kid's going to be a fucking monster.
Right.
Like, he looks like when he drops 30 and comes home, his dad's just like, you could have dropped 40 tonight, you piece of shit. It's just like, damn, Dad. Yeah, get back out there, dribble all night. So he's definitely one of those parents that goes, you got an A. All right, good. Is there any reason why you couldn't get an A plus? Like, something fucking happened? Do they not do that anymore? Like, he looks like he's that kind of dad. But yeah, so they're building something very beautiful there. And like I said, I think it's one of those things, Joel, in Didge. We see it every year in the NBA. You lose your star player, and it just guts you. Right? During the regular season, you're able to do that because you're like, there's 82 fucking games, right? So it's like the pressure isn't heightened. But when you get to the playoff and that shit's reduced to 7 around, it puts all the pressure on you. And that's when you see that guys aren't there yet, right? They're just role guys. And that's not a slight, but you're just a role guy. The pressure should never be on you, right? It should be on your stars. And unfortunately, you only have one of those. I believe Desmond Bane, if he wasn't playing hurt, could have emerged over the course of the second half of the season into the playoffs as that guy. But he's playing hurt with his back, I think they said. So to me, it's like, I think Bane can become that, I think Bane could become the Clay to Ja Morant, Steph, 100%. 100%. So I would like to see what this team looks like fully healthy and retooled. I think they got a few more veteran moves to make in the
If you look at it, it's scary to think about. But if you really think about it, Golden State had, 3 All-Stars this year?
2.
Only 2. Clay didn't. He didn't.
No. Draymond was on all. Did Steph make the All-Star team?
Steph made it. Steph and Wiggins. No, Joel's right. Draymond made it, but just had to drop out because of injury.
Right.
Oh.
So, technically, it was 3, but Draymond didn't play because he was hurt.
Yeah, he essentially gave up his to DeJounte Murray.
Correct. So they technically had 3 All-Stars, and Clay, when healthy, is an All-Star.
Right?
You basically have 4 All-Stars on the team already.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And then you put in Jordan. What Jordan Poole was one of the best. Like
you can make an argument. You can make an argument. Jordan Poole, because there's a lot of murmurs that Wiggins might not be on the roster next year. Well, so you look at it and you go, Curry, Clay, Poole, Draymond, possibly somewhere down the line before the 3 of them retire, Wiseman. You could have almost a starting 5 of All-Stars coming out of it.
If it goes how it's supposed to, that's a scary lineup.
Oh yeah. Because they don't really consider. I mean, they do and they don't consider Wiggins part of the death lineup. You know what I mean?
No, even though they utilize him in it. Yeah, they utilize him in it. He's not like essential. Like, he has to be part of the death lineup.
Right.
Yeah, they believe he's like.
It's the death lineup. Like Harrison Barnes is part of the death lineup.
Yes, to where they were just like, if we had anybody better, we would put them out here. And then they were just like, Durant, we do have somebody better.
That's when it was the super death lineup.
Right. That was when it was just like, oh shit, that's like Goku versus Krillin out here tonight. Like, goddamn. So I mean. I'm just very curious to see what their moves are. We all believe. You're in this too? You believe it's over for the Grizzlies, or do you?
Honestly, I thought it was over. I thought it was over even before Ja got hurt. Mm-hmm. Wow. People bring up that like, Ja was hurt, blah blah blah. They were down 20. Like it wasn't like it was a 1-point game. They were down 20. The series is probably over.
Yeah. That's a really good point.
They had a good year. Can't complain.
No, not at all. And you know what? I look at the Grizzlies the same way that if you remember when the Warriors, their first year, where they were like really fucking good, played San Antonio. Clay fouled out in overtime. They lost to the Spurs. Spurs went on to knock Golden State out. And everyone was just like, okay, Spurs, enjoy it now. These motherfuckers will be knocking you out soon. I feel that with Memphis, like not like it's a one-off and they'll be shit for the next few years, have to get a whole new head coach. I see them becoming what Golden State was because that's how special Ja Morant is. So now it's all about, can Bane step up? Can Jackson step up? Can Brooks step up? Right. And I think they're just missing a few more veteran pieces. And then the sky's the fucking limit. Because look, you can make an argument, right? You can make an argument. Draymond, Steph, and Clay were the reasons they were making all those runs. Now, you don't ever sneeze at all those really good bench players they had.
Not at all. Right? Iguodala.
Right. Iguodala. I'll even say a name that you'll laugh at, but like Festus Ezeli.
David Lee.
David Lee. Yeah, David Lee. So they had a lot of talent on their bench. But don't get it twisted. It was a Steph, Clay, and Draymond party. And I believe for the Grizzlies, it has to be Ja, Desmond, and Jaren Jackson. If those 3 can do what they need to do, that team will be right back in. Because I look at the Grizzlies and I go, the Grizzlies aren't worse than Luka, right? Than the Mavs. I'm sorry, than the Mavs. I meant the Mavs, not Luka.
The Lucas.
Right. Essentially, they play like
Dallas
that, right?
Lucas, yeah.
Dallas Lucas. But yeah, so I look at that and I'm like, well, even if they stay the same roster exactly the same, they're better than the Mavericks. They just are, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, well, then that assures them a playoff spot. So I'm like, to me, I'm like, I look at it and I'm like, as long as you're not worse than whatever Dallas puts out on the court next year, you'll be fine. So I could see Memphis being a top 5 seed next year. I might, depending on their moves, might go as far as saying a top 2. That's how gifted I believe Ja Morant is. So I just look at it and I'm like, yeah, they're looking at Golden State the same way Golden State looked at San Antonio. Like, all right, with your old ass Duncan, keep talking shit. I'm gonna shoot this fucking 3 ball down your throat. And they got them fucking Spurs right up out of there. Right up. They got Kobe right up out of there. Spurs right up out of there. Grizzlies. Remember the Grizzlies were really big back then with Gasol and Randolph. Got them motherfuckers right up out of there. Yeah. And then you had Durant and Westbrook like, it's our year. And then they said, ha, psych, you forgot about Game 6 Clay. Got them motherfuckers right up out of there. I see the Grizzlies making that same climb for sure. All right, let's see where we're at. Oh, okay. So I wanted to ask you this, Didge. I'll start with you. If you want to talk about the series, by all means, please do. Not putting the muzzle on you. But I am more concerned about when it comes to the Suns and Mavericks. I'm more concerned about the incident that we had in the last game, right? The incident with the fans. Sorry. Do you think this is becoming too much of an issue that the NBA should find ways to kind of neutralize it? Or do you think it's just like here and there? Because I know the other big one we had this year was the couple in the front of that Pacers-Lakers game, like talking about wishing death on Bronny and shit like that.
Yeah.
So I'm like, you've had it a few times this year that weren't just like, oh, it's just heckling, but get them out of here. It was like they are saying some foul shit or doing the fucking Timberwolves game, the fan jumping out on the court. Yeah. So I'm like, you know what I'm saying? It's the only sport that doesn't make it very difficult to have shit. Like, think of football. You got to jump down and run onto the field, right? Like, right. It's difficult. Baseball, right?
You see it.
You don't see it often enough to where it's like, because it's not that easy. So you don't see it that often. It's those rare moments. But basketball, there's nothing stopping the player from falling into my lap and then me spitting on John Morant, right? Like, there's nothing that stops me from doing that. So do you think this is becoming an issue that the NBA needs to look at? Or do you think this is just one of those, it's not going to be that often to really look at it like that?
So first, I guess, because this, honestly, Suns Mavericks is probably the least interesting.
That's why I wanted to open it up more. Right.
So, I could care less who comes out of the series. I do think Golden State's coming out of the West. So there's that's pretty much my thoughts on that series.
Now, really quickly, before you go forward, I do want to throw in this nugget because I'm not going to talk about the series either. Frank Ntilikina plays for the Mavericks. I want to root for Frank Ntilikina. Okay. I love Frank and I love Tim Hardaway. I love those.
Keeping an eye on Brunson over there.
Yes, I need Brunson to work his way into the Knicks. So I'm like, play well, but then don't play well. Play well, but then don't play well.
Not too well. Not too well.
Yeah, play in the middle, so where Dallas is like, I'm not paying you an excess amount of money, and then we're like, but we will take all of this. But I'm sorry, Didge. I just wanted to throw that in there because I love Frank. I love Tim Hardaway, so I am hoping for their success. I just wanted to throw that in there, but go ahead.
But regarding the issue overall, I do think that it's becoming a little much. Fans honestly are a little too comfortable. Like, I've missed and obviously it was insane that it happened, and I guess you could call it whatever. But remember that era right after the Malice at the Palace, where fans, they were kind of like, yeah, they were rowdy, but it's like you still had that inkling in the back of your head, like a player might run up here again, like a player might do this again.
You had a lot of hey, Ron Artest, your mama. Who said that? I don't know who said that.
Like it was a lot. And that's what I said. Like, it was insane. A lot of it was wild, but it put that like into fans, like, fam, these are humans at the end of the day, and
you can get your ass beat.
Yes, like, sometimes it is talk shit, get hit. Like that is a statement for a reason.
Man, I will beat your ass out here.
And I think the NBA, if they don't want that to happen again, they probably should do something, because yes, you have a lot of these superstars who won't, because they do have something to lose, but you're gonna run into another Ron Artest who is like, you know what, fuck it, I'll handle this my way then.
Yeah, for sure. Because to me, if I was that kid and Chris Paul said, "I see you soon," like, oh shit, what? Like, no, I'm sorry. like I'm sorry. I take it all back. I'm so sorry. I no, I mean you no harm. Because usually when someone like Chris Paul says that 100% means he won't be seeing you. He'll be sending somebody to come see you, and that guy will beat the shit out of you.
it'll be the Dave Chappelle situation. Like
100%.
Like it's going to be that, and you don't want that. So
yeah, you do not want that.
I'm sure he is trying to figure out to this moment how to put his fucking arm back together. Like it has it just like this, right? Like I don't get it to go back. Wow.
Imagine looking up and you seeing Busta Rhymes, Jamie Foxx, and Dave Chappelle beating your ass. You just looking like, what? How did I get here?
What did I do? Obviously, you dumbass ran into the wrong spot.
First thing I'm doing if that happened is figuring out a way for that tape to never never meet the light of day. There's no way I can allow people to see this. No fucking way. The first thing people are going to say is like, yo, I saw Jamie Foxx put hands, feet, elbows, all that shit on you. Nah, I can't live with that. That's worse than Chris Rock getting slapped by Will Smith. Like, if I have to have the Jamie Foxx beat my ass over my head for the rest of my life, nah, I couldn't do it. Could not do it. I'd at least have to say, at least I beat Dave Chappelle's ass before it happened. Something. I at least got to brag about something of that shit.
Yeah, like,
the way his arm looked.
If he could have got, and Dave Chappelle took that hit, so it was like you just all around lost.
Yeah, that was a big L.
Oh, like I said, NBA, if they don't want something like that to happen, where a player just snaps and like just says fuck it, you got to do something. So I don't know. It's all insane to me that we're going through this, but I guess that's today's era.
Yeah, and again, I want to make this clear for people who are like, "Oh, I didn't hear what happened." So the fan had put his hands on Chris Paul's mother and wife. Shoved them was the exact word that was used.
Shove them.
Yeah, shoved them.
Lucky he walked away from that.
That's what I'm saying. So. To me, because I know Shaq and Barkley keep going about the narrative of it's just words. You should have heard what we had to go through. And it's like, no, bro. They touched my mom and my wife. We're not talking about
in front of his kids.
In front of his kids. Nah. I can't let you do that. No.
I don't know who you think you are.
Yeah. Because I can tell you right now, the 3 easiest ways, and I mean easiest ways to get your ass beat. You speak ill or touch my mother, my wife, my children.
Yeah.
That is the quickest way to lose, not get beat up. Let me be clear. And I'm not inciting violence at all. But that is the quickest way to get yourself killed, is to lay your hands on my mother, my wife, my children. That's all I'm saying. You don't get a talking to when you do that, when you put your hands on them. You don't get words. You get fisticuffs in any item I could find. like I you know what I'm saying? I'm going full Grand Theft Auto. Oh shit, there's a bat randomly on the ground. Great. Like, there's glass. Great. You know what I'm saying? So to me, it's something the NBA has to figure out. And look, Dallas said, "Oh, they're banned until 2023." Bitch, that's next year. The season's over. Like what?
Well, I think they mean like the calendar year. They have to mean the calendar year. That'd be stupid if not.
I hope so, but that sounds crazy. Maybe next time come out and say calendar year, because it's like, oh, they're banned till 2023, and you're like, isn't that next year? Like,
yeah, it's like,
aren't we heading into 2023? Like, be more specific there. And to be fair, I don't read, so maybe the article was more specific, but that headline was till 2023. So I'm like, that doesn't sound long enough. Like, that's a lifetime ban. You're telling your players that their families aren't safe? That's a lifetime ban.
Yeah.
I don't give you the opportunity to do that again. How do I know that you won't get drunk next time and punch my player's wife or kid or mother in the face? I don't know that. I'm not taking that risk. Hell no. But I also want to say, Joel, as I pass it to you, I find it very weird. 2 things. A, that there wasn't security around Chris Paul's mother, wife, and kids, like immense security. Mm-hmm. And 2, I'm very confused on how the Currys just never find themselves in these situations. They sit in the heart of the crowd, and you just never hear shit, right? They always go to them. They're smiling. They're dancing. The kids is throwing up gang signs and shit. They're having a blast. You never hear of like, oh, yeah, someone leaned over and smacked Aisha in the face. Like, that shit just doesn't happen. What do the Currys give off that they're just unfuckable? Like you just can't fuck with them.
Unfuckable.
Yes, I'm sorry. I couldn't conjure that up. So what are your thoughts on this fan issue, Joel? And then if you wanted to give anything about the series.
I mean, it's people being stupid. It's always going to happen. There's a lot of shit that probably happens we don't hear about. It's happening to the playoffs. People are assholes. They drink too much, or they just puff their chest and they think they can get away with shit. And they either get their ass up or they get kicked out. It happens. I don't want to say it's a good thing, but it happens. Happens a couple times in the Gardens. I mean, I remember one time. Specifically, I think when we had Antonio Davis on the team, someone was fucking with his wife, like in the stands. He literally went into the stands. He wanted to take care of that himself. Like, you
they were like, "Hey, we have security for that." No. I'm their security.
I got it. He was like, "Thank you."
He put on the Thanos gauntlet. I handle this one myself. I got it. Don't you worry.
I mean, shit happens. It sucks. And like, if he really did that, that dude did shove my mom's or my girl. I'm just saying,
because Joel, it's different for you because like you do have a fiance and a daughter. You know what I'm saying? So it again, I'm not saying you would accept it for your moms, but I'm saying it's different when that happens in front of your daughter, right? You know what I'm saying? Because the first thing you think to yourself is, what if this motherfucker was crazy enough to put his hands on my daughter? You know what I'm saying? So that's why I'm saying. To me, I take it a little bit more seriously because it's like, where do you draw the line? Especially because you allow them to drink in said games. And you don't know these individuals. These could be people that get crazy when they drink. And now you add in the heat of the game where it's like, oh, fuck you, I want my team to win, blah, blah. You know what I'm saying? And then who knows? Maybe Chris Paul's, like somebody in Chris Paul's, like when I say team, I don't mean the Suns. I mean like his security team. Yeah. They might have turned around, or his mom or his wife might have turned around and said, shut up, like blah, blah, blah. And then this guy went crazy. You know what I'm saying? So to me, it's like, whenever it's that unpredictable, like it's different. Like, albeit I don't accept that either, but when Russ is saying they're just screaming bad names.
Obscenities.
Yeah.
I mean, that's rude.
I don't accept that either.
Family,
but right. But you're like, okay, you didn't cross the line of touching them. That's a line you just can't come back from. I could take the name calling, right? I'll obviously report it. So like maybe you don't have access to those seats anymore. Like you can't sit that close anymore, right? Yeah. But when you touch them, I can't allow you to re-enter this arena because in my mind, how do I know that you're not looking for revenge and you're willing to go a step further, right? And to somebody, they're like, oh, Juwaan, you're being dramatic. I'm sorry. I live in a world that's not safe to just walk outside your door. So I'm not giving him that opportunity to do something else with my kids there. You know what I'm saying? So Absolutely. To me, I just take it a little bit seriously to where I'm just like, no, that has to be a lifetime ban. Sorry, I can't give you another opportunity. And hopefully it sets a precedent for everybody else. I ban first warnings that you get banned, right? Not first, second, third. First warning of that level, you're gone. You don't get to come back here for concerts, anything. You know what I'm saying? So me personally, that's what I would have done. Rather than even if it is, Didge, a full calendar year, that's still a slap on the wrist. Still a slap on the wrist. I'm Chris Paul. I plan to play the next 2 years against Dallas, which means my family would still be there, which means you're giving him the ability to still be there to sit right behind them to do that shit again.
Well, I hear you.
Fucking planning. It's not like seats are cheap either, so.
No, not at all. But you have no way of knowing, like, unless like you digitally check it, of knowing he's back, right? Yeah, unless like you see him and then you're like, oh shit, he's back.
You can get his name and they know what he looks like, and you got security there.
Yeah. Or you know what? I'd even go, fuck it. I'd go as far as to say you're banned from any Chris Paul games.
That'd be wild.
No, I just mean like because I think that was in Dallas. So like if you want to if you want to travel all the way to like, when the Knicks are playing just to go see Chris Paul, God bless your your fucking consistency. But you're not coming back here in any games Chris Paul plays in. Because to me, that's just wild. That's just wild. And I have to believe Chris Paul won't forget that. Neither will the kid. So it's like, it just leaves the animosity there. The possibility of animosity. Yeah. I'm not cool with that. But Joel, did you want to give anything to the series as a whole?
I mean, I'm watching it right now. It's on. It's been a good series. I don't really have a I've had a lot of animosity towards Dallas the last couple of years, but not as much after they traded KP. So it's very much just keeping an eye on like Jalen Brunson and the fact that they actually give Frank some minutes, even though it's not very much. Right. I'm just still shocked because they're like, oh, cool, Frank's getting some minutes. Cool. Tim's still he's out, so I can't really. Not really doing for Timmy, but
I still don't understand why, just to help you foul wise, they don't just put Frank Ntilikina on Chris Paul. Even if Chris Paul is getting him right up out of there, it just puts another body on Chris Paul. So I'm not worrying about Brunson, Dinwiddie, or Luka, right? Like I don't have to worry about the switch off of one of those guys having to guard Chris Paul. Right. And I believe Frank Ntilikina is a competent 3-and-D guy. I'm not saying he's the greatest.
No,
but he's very competent. I think he could handle that position, especially because I keep seeing Danny Green still shoot basketballs from the right corner and clank them motherfuckers, and he still gets playing time. Shoot, though, I'm like,
have you seen Danny Green's tattoos? Like the sleeve? Oh, it's dope. What does he have? Fuck, bro. It has he has bullseye, dead shot, deathstroke, gambit.
Oh shit,
yeah, it's pretty dope.
That's very funny for a guy who can't hit from the fucking corner.
That was his thing.
No, in his Spurs years, he was on fire in his Spurs years. As soon as he came up off of that shit, it was just like, Danny, you're a shooter. How did you forget how to shoot? Like, what the fuck is happening here? All right, so let's do lightning round for these last few topics. This is for you, Didge, because I did think it was funny when it was brought up. But there was a back and forth between Shaq and Rudy Gobert to where Shaq alluded to he would destroy Rudy Gobert back in his prime. There's no lies detected. And Rudy Gobert said, I would lock his ass up. Now, I never do this, but I want to give credit. I never steal someone's take, but I want to give credit. Shannon Sharp this morning said, Rudy, I watch guards dunk on your ass. Why would I find it hard to believe that Shaq couldn't do the same? Why would I believe that? Like, guards look at you and go, okay, poster time. So why would Shaq not look at you and just go, not even barbecue chicken?
Shaq had the perfect response to that because he responded to argue, and he said, I'd find out very quickly how French barbecue chicken tastes.
Yes, 100%. But I'm like, think about it. Shaq dunked on some of the greatest all-time defenders ever in his day, right? Shaq made David Robinson.
That's the clip I was just going to say. You could watch the clip of him on David Robinson. He made David Robinson look silly. The Admiral looked silly.
Yes. Defensive Player of the Year. Yes. He made him his bitch. Yeah. Mutombo. He made everybody his. Shaq was just too much. He essentially had LeBron's physique in a thicker body. Think about that. Think about how strong LeBron is, and then put that on a thicker body, and put it in a time where I could put my whole body into your chest and then go up and dunk on you. What the fuck is Rudy gonna do? Come on, Rudy.
Shaq was almost unguardable because he was so
almost. Yeah. Shaq, if Shaq could make free throws, could have averaged in his youth 42 and 12 a night.
Yeah, the man was putting up 30, shooting 50% from free throw.
Yeah. Shaq was no joke.
Come on now, man. Come on. I really do believe he was the most unguardable player in the history of NBA. Just unguardable, right? It's just what do you do? Oh, I'm going to hack a Shaq. Cool. He does make free throws. Not all of them, but he can make free throws when they count. You go look up his free throw percentage in the playoffs and finals and tell me that this man's knees buckle under pressure. They don't. Sorry. So to me, Rudy Gobert, just stay in your lane. Try not to get dunked on by guards anymore. That would be nice. That'd be a great start. I don't even think Rudy Gobert is a better defender than Mutombo. And Shaq made Mutombo his bitch. So it's Rudy, I don't understand. What are we saying here? Rudy Gobert literally wins Defensive Player of the Year or is in the running because he's one of the few big men that we have, right? So it's well, you got to give it to a big man. Put him in the running. I mean that, Juwaan. That's a defensive presence. I don't mean he's the only big, because obviously we got Karl Anthony Towns and Joel Embiid.
Off like 20 of them.
Right no, I just mean defensive minded, to where they're just defense. They're defensive anchors. And yeah, you look at Rudy Gobert and you go, that's part of Utah's problem. They have to analyze. Your second best player doesn't score. Like, that's a problem. That's a big problem.
Rudy Gobert isn't a good defender as I don't think he's as good a defender as David Robinson. And we just talked about how Shaq made him look silly.
Can I go a step further? And this might even be disrespectful, but this is just my opinion. Only my opinion. I'm not even backing it by facts, just how I feel. I don't think he's a better defender than Draymond Green. And Shaq would put that fucking motherfucker in a manger and just cradle him all night.
He'd have him in a spin cycle for sure.
He would just wrap him and just cradle Draymond all night. So I'm like, if I don't think you're a better defender than Draymond, and Draymond would stand no chance, bye. You're out of here. You're out of here, Rudy. So we all agree on that. We don't have to go any further on that.
No, yeah, that was just a fun topic to bring up.
It was. It was when you said that. When you said that, I had just seen them talking about it on Inside the NBA. So I was like, oh yeah, this would be fun to talk about. All right, so I'm gonna skip that one. I'll go to this, and Joel, I'll start off with you, because this is one of the guys we're looking at that we would love to have. Do you believe Shaq is right, and Donovan Mitchell needs to take his game up a notch?
I mean, I didn't think so 100% before, but I mean, whatever we saw this year in the playoffs, yeah. I mean, what was that? That was not what we're used to from Donovan Mitchell.
Right.
So yeah, you would have to take it up a notch. Too many times now, your team just gets stuck in mud, and if you're the face of the team, at the end of the day, it's gonna fall on your shoulders. I mean, you can yell and bitch about Rudy Gobert all you want, but you're the man, right? So comes down to you. And he didn't have a good playoffs. He didn't.
And look, Kobe made Andrew Bynum look like fucking Shaq. So I'm like, if Kobe can make Andrew Bynum better, you got to figure out a way to get Rudy Gobert involved, right? You just have to. And you have to make somebody else on your team better. Like, you got to bring it out of him. Now, again, I don't believe in excuses. So when he lost Bogdanovich, right? Bogdanovich? Who they lost?
Ingles.
Oh, Ingles. Yeah. Sorry, Ingles. I don't give you that pass. I don't. I watch Embiid lead the Sixers, obviously, until he got Harden, to a top 5 seed, right? With essentially himself. I watch Embiid because there's no Ben Simmons. I watch Jokic do it. So I'm like, I'm watching all these guys that are losing more significant players than what Ingles is to you, and they still are able to make it. They're still able to put in more of a fighting chance.
Remember the Jazz in the regular season are always good. That's never.
That's
really
the problem. They have the Peyton Manning disease. That's their problem. They have the Peyton Manning
Harden disease.
Oh yeah, I could have kept it in the sport. Yeah, the James Harden disease. So yeah, I agree with you. He does need to take a step forward. But I'm going to be honest with you. I think he needs to take a step forward because I believe he should be a Knick, and I don't want none of that shit here. So if you stay in Utah, I don't give a fuck what you do. But if you come here, I don't need that shit here. No. I don't need you tainting RJ.
Leave that shit in Utah.
Yeah, leave that there. We believe RJ is on a incline, right? Like he's going upward. I don't need you dragging his ass down. So no, thank you. No, thank you.
No.
Didge, how do you view it?
I mean, yeah, I think you're absolutely right. He's a great player, but he's not transcendent. And that's sort of that next level. Like, and it might just be needing a change of scenery.
Maybe that's what it
could be.
Or maybe it just takes getting rid of Rudy and seeing what you can get for him and just putting better pieces around him. Because I tell you what, if they get rid of Rudy, put better pieces around him, and he still gets his ass bounced out, it's a Donovan Mitchell problem.
Right.
Obviously.
So yeah, I mean, but yeah, we see too many players change of scenery, they thrive. I know every Knick fan has experienced that through the 2000s to right now of a player leaving, and then it's just like, that motherfucker's gonna be so good when he leaves. Like, god damn it. Like, or we get players out of their prime. We either give them away before their prime or get them out of their prime. Because I tell you, that Brandon Jennings acquisition a few years ago would have been a fucking steal. that would have been so good for the Knicks. But the Brandon Jennings we got was just like
he wasn't even that old when we got him, too.
No. I don't even mean age. I just mean the talent looked like it just left. Like, like where did it
and
go?
then after that, he kind of just disappeared.
It disappeared, right?
Where'd you go, Brandon?
Yeah, so it's like, well, God damn. It's like, why do we either get before they pop or after they've already popped and dwindled? Like, what the fuck? But what do you want to see happen with Donovan Mitchell, Didge? Do you want to see him stick it out here like your guy did, or do you want to see him move on?
Man.
I think it's time for him to. Well, somebody has to go. I guess I should say him and Rudy. They can't go back into next year with him and Rudy Gobert. So somebody has to go.
Be separated.
Yeah. So I mean,
because look, I look at Rudy Gobert and I'm just like, Rudy, you gotta, I don't know, maybe call Tyson Chandler and ask him how he was so successful, not being an offensive liability. Like, again, Tyson Chandler is not going to grab the ball and shoot threes or grab it from the free throw line and make moves and go in. But you don't also look at Tyson Chandler and go, you're just standing there. Like, you legit do nothing. That's not the case. I believe the man invented tip outs. The man invented tip outs. And he just wasn't an offensive liability. He just wasn't. So I'm like, you got to figure out something to do. Because if they trade you, they're not going to trade you to a team who is like, oh, yeah, we just needed somebody that blocks shots. We don't need anything from the 5 position offensively.
Right.
That doesn't exist. So, Rudy's got to figure something out.
I agree.
Hook shot. I don't know why the skyhook is not a more popular move. I don't understand it.
Especially if someone of his height. Like, that should be the most easiest thing for you to do. Yeah, either you're Anthony Davis or you're skyhooking. That is your only 2 options. Yeah. Like, your only 2 options.
I don't get it. Oh,
boy. All right. So this one we can go by really quickly. I won't even need to pass it because I think we all agree. Monty Williams is coach of the year. Yeah. Any of us have a problem with that?
I can't complain with that. No,
I can't complain on that.
Because you can make an argument he should have won it last year.
You could. I mean, I'm not going to, but it could. But I mean, Udoka had a good year. I mean, I'll give him credit. What's his name from the Grizzlies?
Yeah. I think the biggest problem for me though, Joel, is consistency.
What do you mean?
Phoenix has literally been doing this since tip-off.
The last 2 years. No, I agree.
So
Taylor Jenkins.
Right. Yes, Taylor Jenkins. Yeah. No, look, I'll say this. If Taylor or Udoka?
Yeah, something like that.
Okay. If either one of those 2 got it, I wouldn't be like, I don't get it. I'd be like, yeah, I get it. No problem. But I'm saying you have to reward Monty for the consistency. They've been playing this well since tip-off, since October 21st, and whenever the season started, they've been playing like this. And then had a stretch of Devin Booker playing MVP basketball with no Chris Paul, and they were winning convincingly in that stretch. So I'm like, yes, you just have to give it to the guy. Sorry, you have to. All right, so now we can get to the one that some of us might disagree with, some of us might not. Joker won the MVP again, back-to-back years. He is the 13th player in NBA history to win back-to-back MVPs. Didge, you were giving the lips of anybody that disagrees with something. So I'll start with you. What are your thoughts?
The MVP is such a weird award to me because the sort of what the criteria they claim for MVP seems to change year by year. Of course, anybody who's probably listening is thinking, I'm like, oh, Giannis should have won it. I would have loved it. Honestly, I think Embiid should have won it.
That's my pick.
But like the MVP has for long been, it's your team's win-loss record matters but it's like, okay, the Nuggets were the 6th seed. Clearly that didn't matter because they were 6th seed in a weak West where the Sixers were 3, well, I guess technically 4, but they had the same record. Mm-hmm. They could have been anywhere from 2 to 4 and one of the strongest Eastern conferences in a long time. Right. And then on top of that, Embiid's numbers were better. So it's like, what was it here? And that's why I said the MVP has been such a weird award because it's been like that for so long. There's always random years where somebody will win and they'll say, oh, well, it's because of this. It's because this is what the criteria is. And it's like, okay, cool. We accept that as the criteria. And then when another player a year or two down the road has that criteria, oh, but it's also you got to do this. So it's like, what are we really evaluating as the most valuable player? Right. Is it that you are the best on your team and you're leading to the success? Or is it, some numbers guy sat down there, looked at an analytics that really doesn't matter for when you're watching the game and it's, all right, hey, this just looks cool. This looks like the pick that it should be. And if that's the case, tell us that.
Yeah, I have a big problem with it because, like I said, I'll never forget the year James Harden lost it to Russell Westbrook. I don't give a shit about triple-double. And the reason why I don't give a shit about that is it didn't convert itself into a winning fucking season. So it's like, bro, Harden, I know what you're thinking, Joel. He did make the AFC. I mean, James Harden had a better record than him. So I'm like, James Harden's ability to be able to do that and numbers that are somewhat comparable. The rebounds obviously are drastically low, but his assist and points per game numbers are right up there. So I'm like, to me, I kind of feel like if you're rewarding individual success, what does that say for a player that works hard to get his team to 50, 60 wins, right? Yeah. Same thing, 50, 60 wins where you're going, no, but his numbers were better. And it's like, but it translated to him being an 8 seed. I was a 2 seed. Why is that not being looked at better? You know what I'm saying? Okay. So, because I know Shaq's thing is MVP is best player. Forget anything else, team success, anything like that. It's just the best player.
But then why did Derrick Rose win it?
But here's my problem with Shaq saying that. He only believes that because if that's the criteria, it would have just went between Shaq and Kobe for like 6 years in a fucking row. It just would have offset between those two.
But if that was the criteria, Derrick Rose wouldn't have won it in 2010.
Right. He was not better than LeBron.
Steve Nash wouldn't have won it. Was it 04? He wouldn't have won it 04 or 05.
I was about to say he wouldn't have won it twice.
So it's like
nobody would have won it those 10 years that LeBron was dominating the league.
100%. And so like that's sort of my point when I said MVP is such a weird award because I don't understand the criteria. Because some years it is, your team success, but some years it isn't.
And here's how we know that what you're saying is gospel. They gave Curry back-to-back. The first year, I'll give it to you. When you gave it to them for breaking the Bulls record, Curry was not a better player than LeBron James that year. He just wasn't. He just was not. I'm sorry. He was not better than LeBron that year. He just wasn't. You essentially rewarded him for them going on a historical run that season. And to me, that's glitz and glamour. That's glitz and glamour.
The only thing Steph Curry has for him going that year is at least he was scoring leader.
Yeah, for sure. But to me, I just mean impact-wise. Impact-wise. That's fair. You know what I'm saying? So to me, I'm just like, I don't know what the criteria is, but I'm like, if you're Joel Embiid, this really bums you, right? Because you're like, if you're Joel Embiid, you're like, well, Jokic's numbers will probably be exactly the same next year, right? Mm-hmm. He'll probably get his team to top 8 next year. So I'm like, well, then if he loses it next year, you better be telling me that the person who won it won 80 games, was scoring 54 points per game, 96 rebounds, and 54 assists. You better be telling me that a fucking alien is a basketball player next year if Jokic's numbers and his team success is exactly the same in a regular season. Because we don't believe his numbers will dwindle that much or increase that much, right? So it's like, if his numbers are exactly where they are this year, what are we doing here? You know what I'm saying? What are we doing here? But go ahead, Joel. What are your thoughts?
I won't argue it. I think what I said this morning when it was announced, I not saying he's undeserving, but I felt like it was close enough to go in a different direction.
Yes,
he was already the MVP last year. I think you could say that Embiid did just as little help as he did at the end of the day, till the very end. But it didn't matter. He put up similar numbers, like not exactly the same. He put up more points, and Jokic put up, I think, slightly better rebound and assists. But the numbers were so close. I think you give it to Embiid easily, in my opinion. But it is what it is. A double for I mean, look, I'm not gonna say he doesn't deserve it. The fucker's good. He's real good. But he's not playing right now, is he? But again, it's not a playoff.
Right, it's not a playoff thing. Right. It's not a playoff thing. Look, Didge, Joel already knows this. So I'm not going to rehash it to Joel, but I felt this strongly. Remember the year LeBron was supposed to be unanimous MVP in Miami, and that one lone reporter gave Melo a vote? To me, I'm like, well, if you're going by the criteria of how Jokic got it this year, how the fuck would you not get more votes to Melo? That team went from an 8th seed to number 2, and he had LeBron's number during the season. So I'm like, what else would someone like Carmelo or Embiid have to do to get the award? Let alone Melo only got one fucking vote. One vote. In a season, he won 50-something games coming off of an 8th seed the year before.
Yeah.
What else would a person need to do is where the questions start to pile up. Because like I said, Joel said it perfectly. The numbers are comparable. So then what the fuck happens if the numbers are comparable again next year? What do you do?
I mean, that's what I said. Like I said, it's just what does it always comes down to, well, what does MVP mean? Because
most valuable player.
No, we know what the acronym stands for, but their criteria.
How are you graded? Because you're
right.
Like I said, one year your criteria is your team was great. One year your criteria is you were just the best player. One year your criteria is your team had the greatest turnaround. And it's like, what are we talking here?
Yeah.
Like,
obviously, what my criteria is doesn't matter. It's just a matter of what is the NBA's criteria. And
no, that's what we're saying. That's what we're saying. We would like to, and we never will. We never will know because it changes depending on the person. It's an individual voting.
I felt like it was too close to say he definitively won it. You know what I mean?
That agreed. And I don't think me or Didge are saying. I'm not saying you think this, Joe. I'm just saying I don't think me or Didge are saying that Jokic doesn't deserve. Like it's not like he won it. No, it's not that. It's just like, bro, what?
Yeah, it's like what are we really? Like I said, it's just the MVP. It's always been a weird award to me. Not every year when it happens, when voting comes out, I'm just always like, how did you come up with this year?
Right, because to me, I've always looked at it since I started watching the NBA and knowing what I was watching, like, bro, this could be Kobe or LeBron's award, literally just alternating between the two of these motherfuckers. Sprinkle in a little bit of Tim Duncan in the middle of that, and it literally could have just been just rotating between the three of those motherfuckers. So I'm like, the fact that it wasn't lets me know, well, you're not grading it off of who was the best player that year, the most valuable player that year. You're not grading it off of that.
Who's the best player in the league award. It's the most valuable player.
And then the definition of that is what me and Didge are saying is what gets skewed by the year, what gets skewed. So that's where my problem comes from. Because again, it's not like they just came out of nowhere and was like Desmond Bane MVP. And it's like, what the fuck is that?
Right.
It's like, I get it, but still, can we have some kind of parity here? Like, you know what I'm saying? You know what that means to the city of Philadelphia to have Joel Embiid win that MVP? Yeah, and you robbed it,
knowing they're not going to win a title now.
Well, for damn sure, right? So to me, it's just like, I don't know. I really dislike that a lot. I really do. I truly do. But look, we've been looking at a league that fucks up the All-Star voting too. So it's like,
that's also true.
It's like they're consistent. They're very consistent when it comes to that for sure. Because I know there were people that were arguing Thibodeau winning it last year, right? And they're just like, well, wait a minute. They went from no playoffs to 4, but there are teams that might have went from 8 to 1, 4 to 1. Like, you're just overlooking that. And look, I won't argue. I'm a homer, so fuck y'all. It's Tibbs' award. Suck one. But if I'm stepping outside of my Knicks fandom, I understand that argument. I really do. I do, because you didn't reward Carmelo for that shit, but you gave it to Tibbs. Why? Because team turnaround, right? Team turnaround. 8-2 sounds like a pretty significant fucking turnaround. In a league with Derrick Rose, Paul Pierce and the Celtics, obviously they were aging, but still. Indiana Pacers, right? That knocked us out. The Hawks, right? Orlando Magic at that time. There were good Eastern Conference teams. It's not like it was a chum bucket, right? So to me, it's like he went from 8-2, and you're just like, fuck you. LeBron. That sounds like a Homer award. That sounds like you giving your guy a heads up. So to me, I appreciate that one Boston reporter who gave Melo that one vote. You're forever good in my book. Forever. Because he deserved more. And he was willing to beat Kevin Garnett's ass right in front of the bus. Come on, man. Who else can you get that from? LeBron wouldn't do that. Come on. LeBron wouldn't beat somebody's ass where it could be shown across the world. He would never do that. Fucking LeBron. Anyway. All right. So that's all we got for you guys this week for sports, GVN Sports. I want to thank Didge and Joel for joining me as always. Always fun to talk sports with you guys. Glad we could do this show and talk sports together. It's going to get a lot more fun when we get to the Western Conference, Eastern Conference finals, and then the finals. And then when we officially hit the offseason for football. That'll be so much fun to break that down.
Hey, man, I'm going to need a giant back there at some point. This is bullshit.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the photos that I sent Blake. I sent him this arrangement. I like it. I don't know what to tell you. You know what? No, you know what I can do, Joel? You know what I can do, Joel? I can move RJ to where Randall is, right? And then take Randall out and put in Daniel Jones. I can do that for you.
I won't even argue it.
I can do that for you. I got you. I'll make sure that happens. I got you. I promise. This week's photo is going to be the photo I sent you guys. If Jokic is a baby, that's it. So that's this week's. But going forward, I got you.
Joker.
You know what we got to start doing, Joel, is putting the green screen behind you and you putting up your emblem that you made for this show.
Yeah,
that'd be a really good place to showcase that off.
Yeah, I could do that. I don't have a green screen at the moment. I mean, I do. I just don't have anywhere to put it.
Oh, I was about to say, yeah, you don't have anywhere to put it, but you damn sure have one.
Oh, I definitely have one somewhere.
I actually didn't know about green screens till I met Joel. I'd never heard of them. And then I saw it and I was just like, I don't know what that is. And then I saw it like when we were done filming and I was just like,
that was back in the day.
Look, I never fake the phone. If I don't know some shit, I will make it known that I don't know some shit. I'm not here to fake the phone. I just don't believe in that, man. Like, I think that's some sucker shit. If you don't know, just say you don't know. Don't sit here and lie. That's how you can learn. Let someone teach you. Absolutely. I've always been that way. Like, grass is green? It's like, yeah, what the fuck, Juwaan? It's like, I didn't know. It's like, where have you been? Hey,
thought it was gray this entire time.
I thought it was only green here in the world. I thought maybe there were other places it was different color. And like, I don't understand you. But please make sure you guys join us tomorrow night for our Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness breakdown, spoiler review, of course. We will have a packed panel for that. It will be a lot of I loved it. It will be a overwhelming amount of I loved it. Oh man, Chuck almost beat Kenny to the board. He was so fucking close. He was so close. But yeah, make sure you guys stay tuned for that. And then I feel like there was Thursday is possibly Figure It Out. Friday is definitely GVN talk. Saturday is Star Wars Saturdays coming back
this week. Lies.
We will try to have Figure It Out this week. That is a promise. And then of course Sundays is GVN Roundtable. So Didge, you might enjoy Star Wars Saturdays coming back for sure.
Oh, nice.
Got a lot of Star Wars shit to talk. And before I go, I don't know the name of the company, so I apologize. But whoever is making Gotham Knights, you can suck a fat one. And that's pretty much all I got. That's all I got for you guys. And we will the fattest of fat ones, guys.
I think it's WB Games.
Is it Montreal though? Is that the company?
Montreal, yeah.
It's Montreal.
I'm pretty sure.
Montreal. Yeah, suck a fat one, Montreal. If anyone doesn't know what we're referring to, look it up. We'll break it down more this Friday.
Yeah. I'm excited. Fucking thing looks great.
I'm excited for the game.
Yeah, I stopped looking at how good the game looks, and I was just like, bitch, I got that system you just fucking outlawed. The fuck are you talking about? Like,
maybe you'll get next gen by then.
I will not get a next gen out of fucking spite, Didge. I will stay with my Xbox One until that bitch comes out on Switch. And then that's when I'll play it.
I lucked into my PlayStation 5, so
yeah, that's why I'm upset because I don't have a PS5 yet. And I'm like, it's not like they're easy to come by either.
I lucked into mine for sure. So
and you know what's funny? People that have PS5s love to tell us, like, bro, it's not that. You know what it sounds like? It sounds like the privileged kid that's filthy rich, and it's like, bro, you can make it too, bitch. You were born into billions. What are you telling me? So I find a lot of people with PS5s are like, bro, it's not that hard. Then I wouldn't be telling you that I can't find one if it was easy. Like
I tell them all. Every time I tell someone, I'm like, no, I lucked into mine. You know.
Yeah, because I'm like, that's just not easy. Now, if I told you an Xbox Series X is hard to find, you would go, "You're a lie," and I would go, "That's true. That's just really easy." I tripped over one walking the street yesterday. It's like, oh shit.
I signed up. I went to the Sony website and I signed up for I registered to get invited to purchase one of the.
That's how I looked into mine. I did that, and they emailed me.
How long did it take?
Honestly not that long. So when I registered for it, probably within the next couple of weeks, whenever their next refresh was.
Okay.
They emailed me, and I just happened to be checking my email at that time, and it says hey, this is happening. I
always check my email, so I'm good.
It tells you the time. It's usually the next day after you get the email.
Okay.
And so then I got the email, and
it was your window. Don't fuck it up.
Don't fuck this up. So, they'll randomly email you to where you're just like, all right, groceries and bills or PS5.
Right. Well, that's the worst part. Because I wanted to get it this year, but it's expensive. So I was like, I gotta plan ahead.
Well, no, I'm just speaking more so to Joel. What if tomorrow they're just like, hey, it's available, go get it now, and you're just like, no, not a good time. Hold on. Wait a minute. Hold on. But yeah, so we'll talk more about this Friday when all the gamers are on and they can completely freak out like I'm sure they want to. But yes, tomorrow we will be breaking down Doctor Strange, so make sure you stay tuned for that. Thursday, though, I will be, as I said before, interviewing Ernie Altbacker, the writer of most of the DC animated movies, mostly the new 52, but some of these newer ones that are coming out now. So that's going to be a great conversation. Always is. Ernie's awesome. So stay tuned for that. And we are very close to Kenobi. So stay tuned for that because that's going to be life-changing. So already seeing Haydenson during these promos is just like, my body's not ready. It's just not fucking ready for Anakin to be back. It's just not. Oh my God. Anyway, thank you guys for tuning in. We will see you next week. Same time, same place. Till then, peace.